Yo, 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 and welcome back to Creeps and Crimes
Podcast.
I'm Taylar.
And I'm Morgan, and this is episode 100.
Yeah.
Can you guys even fucking believe
No,
it?
because I literally cannot believe this.
Let's set the scene for you. For those that aren't on YouTube, which if you're not, get on it right now.
Yeah, what are you doing? Subscribe
right now and subscribe again on a new account. No, I'm just kidding.
On a million accounts, please.
To set the scene for you, we have thrown it back to season 1 right now. We are in our pajamas.
Yes.
It's like a creeps and crimes sleepover vibe here.
All of OG creepy shit.
We have blankets on. We have spooky pillows on our laps. We have a creep it real pillow behind us with a candle lit. Skeletons everywhere.
It's called a boo candle.
All we're missing is the webbed. Do you remember when
webs.
we did it for Halloween and we just left it there? Like, oh, that's forever. Fucking cute. We're like, it's Christmas time and we still have spider webs on the wall.
Why did we do that?
It was hilarious.
It was
so cute. Are you kidding?
Oh my God. For Halloween, for Christmas this year, we have to get a black tree for our studio.
Yeah.
And skull.
Or
what?
A pink tree.
Oh, a pink tree. A pink tree. I bet they have an ombre pink and purple tree.
Yeah, we could find one of those.
And we can use trifecta. What are they called? Ornaments. Like alien face, a ghost face, and a knife.
Stop. And of course, ornaments for Ollie, Mila,
of course, yes.
and Nona. Those are must-haves.
Maybe we can. This is really far out there.
Oh God.
Maybe we can make a CNC ornament.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think we have to make everybody a CNC ornament.
That is the topper of the tree.
Honest to God,
it's not an ornament. That is your tree topper.
We have to make like limited edition season 1, season 2, season 3 CNC ornaments for people to collect.
Yeah.
Would you guys collect them?
Is it too late for that?
No, because what we'll do is we'll use like the vibe of those like holiday seasons for the past seasons. We'll curate.
Wow, that's such a big word. And we'll curate to
match
the aesthetic of
the aesthetic.
Seasons.
Yeah,
I love that.
Does anybody know an Etsy owner who makes
anybody here an Etsy owner
that would make us custom ornaments bulk ship
on demand? Let us know. We're waiting on your response. Do.
Do you remember our waiting room music?
Yeah.
I miss our waiting room music.
Me too.
That just hit me like a ton of bricks.
Guys, we went back and we listened to episode 1 today.
Yes.
Wow.
That was a throwback. First off, audio horrific. Why are y'all starting there? Like, what
I don't know how many times we have to tell you not to go there.
Just don't.
But yeah, everybody does.
And that was before the yo.
And we were talking about this actually the other day, is that like for us, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
But for people that come and they binge us within a month, they're experiencing 2 years of our lives, because we give you an intro.
A ton of our lives.
And like, we tell you just about everything that happened in a week. Like they're experiencing 2 years of our lives, our growth, our friendship growth, the podcast growth,
marriage,
our day-to-day engagements, marriage,
friends moving and moving back,
dogs,
cats,
and
friends,
all in a month.
You guys binged 2 years of our lives in 1 month, and then you're like, we need more episodes. And we're like, oh my God, time only goes so fast. We've done this every week for 2 years. We're trying our best.
I would love to go back to it.
I would love to.
What would you change?
Our microphones. Our microphones, point blank, period. And I would have been like, hey, actually, you need to research like this, like not like this.
Yeah.
And you don't have to give your sources verbally. You can just link them.
Okay, but besides like the like hard things on the podcast, like what would you change about the way we did the podcast?
Not a single fucking thing.
Me neither.
Not
it was fucking iconic.
It was iconic.
So iconic.
It was iconic of us.
Just fucking, and it was psycho. Like it was like two random ass bitches are like, yeah, let's like talk about 2 things we know nothing about, and let's just do it for fun.
We're like, oh, our certifications, we've talked about it before.
Our certifications?
Our living room couch.
That
is it.
And that's still our brand.
Yeah, and it's not like we have like any like I mean, we've both been haunted, but I'm pretty positive that like 50% of the world has been as well.
Right, exactly.
So we were like, we were haunted once. We need to start a podcast.
Yeah, we know nothing about this shit, but okay.
I mean, that was ridiculous, but I love it.
I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll talk about government conspiracies. I know so much.
I love it. I talk about it all the time. I have this friend from home. He talks about it.
I live and breathe conspiracies. I walk out my door and I say, wow, is this even the sky? I walk out, I get in my car and I look to my left and my right and I'm like, wow, are these even real people?
We're just driving death machines, like just dumb shit. We literally, that was really iconic of us.
Yeah, no, it was fucking
It's still
dope.
really fucking iconic of us if we're going to be real.
It was fucking dope. It was.
That was really bold than what we did.
Yeah, bravery,
courage, Purple Heart. That's what that was.
Okay.
It was nothing. It was a black heart. If you can even call it that.
Okay, take it a step back.
Yeah.
Just two idiots with Mike. Remember that. Oh, shit. Well, we have some good stuff planned for you today.
Yes, we do. More in what we haven't like caught up with them in a while because we've been so busy. So catch up.
So what have I been doing in life?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Okay, so yesterday my car broke down in the middle of the road. This like godsend hero homeless man came running over to save me. I was in tears. He pushed my car to the side of the road, and literally if he didn't come to save me, I probably would have gotten hit. I had Monkey in the car with me, so that was scary.
Monkey's Ollie, by the way.
Yeah, Monkey's Ollie. I don't know if you guys know that I call him Monkey.
We just call him Monkey, and I'm like really afraid someone thinks A, you have a monkey, B, you have another dog named Monkey that we totally like leave out of everything.
I call Ollie Monkey because he climbs on top of me. Like he's an actual monkey. And then he also, his favorite toy is a monkey, and it has like arms and legs that are like ropes. And then he like will put it around his neck himself, and he just walks around with the monkey like swinging on his neck. It's fucking hilarious.
Okay, he was a monkey in a past life.
I think he was too.
Yeah.
So anyway, I call him Monkey. Hi. So yeah. So Monkey's in the car. So this man came, pushed my car over. I have a really old car. It's time to get a new one, hopefully in the next couple weeks. And Aaron ended up coming, and it was an electrical thing, we think. And after a couple minutes, of course, Aaron comes. Of course, guys. I had like 4 men at the side of the road. It was like right near a gas station. Well, I was actually in a gas station at this point. 4 men over there helping me, turning on. Nothing's working. It's just stalling. Aaron comes. I have to pull him out of his fucking video games. Aaron comes. He like comes over. He's like, I don't understand what's wrong. You're not making any sense. I'm like, please help me. I'm like crying, sobbing. And so he turns the key, and it's like a and it starts, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna drive it home. I'm like, I need to take your car, go get Starbucks. That's where I was going in the first place.
Go get me some Starbucks. It's been a long day.
And I was like, take the dog. So anyway, he drove my car, and it seems to be working now. But what have I been doing in my life? A little just working. What about you?
I went to Nashville on Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
I forgot to tell you guys about this. So I went to Nashville on Tuesday. And mind you, we recorded 99 on Sunday. So typically I use Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for editing. And Thursday, I start my notes for when we record on Sundays. But you guys know that we're heading into season 3, and we're coming in hot as hell. And everybody we know is getting married. And literally from September and October, all the bachelorette parties we've been on, it's time. So we've got a lot of things that we have to be like pre-recording and getting done. So our schedule is not like our regular schedule. It's just all over the place.
It's chaotic.
It's chaotic.
It's chaotic, but it's iconic.
It's chaotic, but iconic. Okay, TM. Like, are you kidding?
That's merch.
That's some merch. Anyways, so we've been iconic but chaotic, and we were, getting everything done. And Monday, I got it confirmed that my cousin Kylie was going to be making her Grand Ole Opry debut.
So fucking awesome.
Iconic.
No, in Nashville.
And yeah, Nashville. So I was like, well, I'm going. And so I hop in my car Tuesday at 11, and I had finished video editing at this point and audio. But not.
And this was also our crossover episode that she had to edit. So that was like a whole lot of.
A whole thing. Like 4 different. 2 audio tracks is hard, but 4 audio tracks is, oh my God.
That was a new era that we hadn't really diversed into yet of like how we recorded that style episode.
It was interesting. So Tuesday morning, I hop in my car, I jump on the road, I'm driving to Nashville. Oh my God, Kylie did amazing. We went to a little after party to celebrate her. It was really, really awesome. So we went to the after party, we go to sleep, we wake up the next morning, and we went to go meet with my uncle and my aunt who live in Oklahoma, who came in to watch Kylie. It's her papaw and her mama. And so we went over there and we sat and had some lunch with them, and I was just waiting because I saw some traffic on my map.
Yeah, good call.
So I literally leave Mount Juliet and I get right outside of the suburbs of Nashville, and I hit standstill traffic on one of the biggest curves that is on the interstate in this area. And I had to like whip myself over to this like emergency lane, and I sat in it for an hour, and there was people piling up because it's on this giant curve. So there's even more wrecks that are going on. I'm watching my clock go from, I was supposed to get home at 5 to now 5:30 to 6:30 to 6:15 from 6:15 to 7:15 from 7:15 to 8:15, and I was like, oh my God, this is literally not allowed. I have to get this episode out. Like, I have no choice. So this is Wednesday. The episode has to go out that next day. I get off on this service road, right? And I call Morgan. I'm like, look, I'm about to have no service. I have no idea how I'm going to get home. I'm just going to follow any road I can find east. But I need you to go over to the house and do this, and this, and this to the audio and video. And Morgan's like, okay.
Hold on, let me write down my directions. So I'm typing out all my directions. She's like, okay, and she's cutting out. I'm like, you're breaking up. I swear, guys, she was just cringling. I swear, she was just crimpling gum wrapper into the phone. She's like, and then go to export file. And I'm like, what? Export what? Export file? Okay. Export disk.
So ridiculous.
Anyway, so I was like, yeah, sure. I'm taking Monkey to the dog park anyway. So I'll stop by.
So they came by and fixed it. Literally, it saved my life, because if she wouldn't have came over and exported everything that she did, the episode wouldn't have been out on time. Like, there's just no way around it. So she came over and did that. I ended up getting home at 6:30 because I just followed this guy from North Carolina tags. I just followed him.
You're like, yeah, he's definitely going east.
I was like, if we're going near North Carolina, I just want to be there. I don't care. So I just followed him, and I somehow like got past Cookville and was able to get back on the interstate, and there was no one on it because I found out they had shut down all the exits and had to land helicopters to get people out of there.
Yeah.
It was awful.
You know what's really like, 20 minutes. But what's really frustrating and sad is that like every car accident, like you sit there in standstill traffic and everybody on that road is just so mad. They're so irritated and you're so frustrated, and everyone always forgets like, you know,
there's
like
someone who's literally in danger.
Really hurt.
Yeah. And their life just got flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And we're just pissed the fuck off that they wrecked.
Well, there's just got to be like an easier way to clean up the interstate quickly.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like you got to have
the emergency lanes need to be bigger.
Like emergency lanes have like either like gated like entrances that have to be unlocked, so like cars can't just drive through like in road rage. Like, oh, let me get over in like an HOA loan. Okay, Logan Fetzner Jr.
Okay, calming down.
I direct home loans.
She is a loan originator right here. Mortgage officer, Morgan Mounds.
Okay, an HOV lane. Is that what it's called?
HOV, yeah.
Okay.
But what does that even stand for?
I don't know. Human occupant vehicle, more than 2.
Human occupant vehicle?
Vehicular. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, but like if they was like gated, then you guys get what I'm saying. I'm done talking. I'm over here.
Hard like thing goes out, whatever. It's fine.
Okay.
So you ready to hit him with it?
Yeah.
For the 100th time.
For the 100th time, if you're driving, throw that shit at 100 miles per hour.
Don't do that. Please.
If you're driving, throw that shit on cruise control.
If you have a glass, pour that shit up.
And let's get
creepy. Okay, you you guys already know that one of our favorite sayings on this podcast is love it, but hate it.
Merchant.
But what if we told you we found a podcast called I Hate It, But Love It?
And when we discovered this, we went to binge. I Hate It, But I Love It is a pop culture podcast that you're going to love and hate simultaneously, much like our cases.
Each week, hosts Kat Angus and Jocelyn Getty watch a movie or a TV show and pick apart their complicated feelings about it. They understand that pop culture doesn't have to be good in order for you to love it. It doesn't have to be terrible in order for you to hate it. And you can find things to laugh at in almost everything.
Do you know how the movie Spice World technically isn't that great, but you can quote it by heart anyway?
Absolutely.
Or how This Is Us makes you roll your eyes and tear up at the same time. Like literally Taylar and I's dynamic. The amount of Snapchats I have of Taylar sobbing to This Is Us and me like, I don't get it.
Are you okay?
Or maybe you're obsessed with the OA for reasons you just quite can't explain and you still love watching the Titanic. Even though Leonardo DiCaprio totally could have fit on that door at the end. We all know that.
100%. There's like Keke Palmer said it best.
Yes. Well, then I Hate It, But I Love It is the podcast for you.
Plus, Kat and Jocelyn are freaking hilarious, but do not take our word for it. I Hate It, But I Love It podcast has won 3 Canadian podcast awards, including Best Comedy Podcast and Best Host in a Series. That's all of Canada, which is a pretty big country.
They release new episodes every Wednesday on all podcast platforms. You can listen to I Hate It, But I Love It on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And I think you're going to love it and not hate it at all.
All right then, Morgan, what do you have for us today for the 100th time?
All right. Back before we started this podcast, I remember vividly the day you came bursting into the living room telling me to drop whatever I was doing and listen to the story that you had just heard M cover on, and that's why we drank. And this was obviously a daily thing, but this story had us both in a black hole of YouTube videos, Reddit dives, and 3 a.m. discussions. It's one that you have been begging me to do, so after 99 episodes, I realized I guess I would do it for you. So happy 100th episode. This time travel Abraham Lincoln Gettysburg Address government conspiracy is for you, bitch.
I'm so happy. I could literally cry. I have chills all over my body.
I'm just going to dive right into it. Starting with the 2016 presidential election, which we all know was one for the books, but not in the way that you're remembering. It was going to be groundbreaking either way. The first woman in the White House or the first Hollywood businessman in the White House. But there was another candidate that would have broken both of those titles. 2016 presidential candidate and Seattle-based lawyer Andrew Basiago, if succeeded during elections, would have been the first time-traveling government whistleblower in the White House.
That would have been insane.
Iconic.
Yes,
you heard that right. This was the headliner for all articles in the spring of 2016. Time-traveling conspiracy theorist lawyer running for president. He had policy proposals unlike any other presidential candidate in history. His first policy that really won over much of liberal voters was about ending homelessness in America. He states in January 2015, 564,000 Americans were homeless on a given night. Of that number, 206,000 were people and families and 358,000 were individuals. About 15% of the homeless population, some 83,000, are considered chronically homeless. We can and should end homelessness in America by adopting Utah's approach of, first, giving the homeless immediate shelter in modest apartments and houses, and then second, where drug and alcohol addiction, mental health, and unemployment are the cause of their homelessness, intervening to help them with their personal problems. This was like, yeah, for sure. Like,
iconic.
We fucking love this guy. Like, let's vote him. But then they got to his second policy, and that was about ending chemtrail spraying by the United States. I've actually never covered chemtrails.
Oh, I can't believe that. I feel like we've talked about it so much.
I know, and maybe I should cover it soon.
Oh, yeah. 101?
What did you say?
101?
101?
Or the first ep of season 3.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Bostiago's campaign website from 2016 states that the chemtrail program was the brainchild of Dr. Edward Taylar. Taylar advised that if we sprayed aluminum and barium oxides in the upper atmosphere, that this would enhance the albedo effect, the reflectance of solar radiation back into space from clouds, snow, and sand. This, he hoped, would stem global warming, which by stopping the Gulf Stream may threaten us with a new ice age. The chemtrails, however, have led to widespread respiratory distress. The president should end chemtrail spraying by U.S. agencies by executive order and pursue technical innovation to end global warming. So his presidential campaign policies went 0 to 100 really fucking quick.
Right.
But then his campaign continues to go past 100 to 200. He's like cranking up the volume. When his next proposal is protecting the Sasquatch species. He says, Sasquatch exist. I know. I am the first United States presidential candidate since Theodore Roosevelt to declare publicly that I have encountered Sasquatch. Roosevelt's encounter occurred when a Sasquatch was scared into his campsite one night when he was on his great North American ape expedition. I encountered an adult male Sasquatch and his young son when I was camping at Lake Sacandaga in the Adirondacks, sorry, I mispronounced probably both of those, in 1966. The Sasquatch have matrilineal DNA that is human and patrilineal DNA from an unknown primate.
Oh.
The president should protect the Sasquatch by putting them on the endangered species list.
Wow. We went straight from like homelessness to Bigfoot.
Yeah, usually we see gun control,
right.
You know, pro-choice, pro-life, healthcare policies. And
like the religion triggers, like those things.
No, now we're seeing homeless. Okay. Great candidate.
Let's do that. Let's fix
that. That sounds great.
Chemtrails.
Sasquatch. And then he says, what I'm actually here to talk about today. His final policy, fourth and final policy, was disclosing secret advanced technologies. He says, for 70 years, the United States government has been concealing advanced technologies because they might be socially, economically, or technically disruptive in nature. These technologies included teleportation technology developed by DARPA's Project Pegasus. They may also include cancer cures. The government should begin a program to declassify and deploy this knowledge. The standard of technical disclosure should be what provides the people best available technology. This will enable the United States to reclaim its mantle as the world's catalyst of applied science.
Wow.
Wow, right?
Ooh, wow. But like, they're not going to go for that, buddy.
Yeah, unfortunately for us fearmonger conspiracy theorists, presidential candidate Andrew Basiago was not elected in the year 2016. But do not fret, because according to Bostiago and his experiences that he has had with this government program, he says, quote, I have prior knowledge that not only will I run for president, but that during one of the elections that would have to be between 2016 and 2028, because I'm not running past that, I am either elected president or vice president.
Bro.
So that's this next election.
That is literally...
Or no, we have 2024 still. And then with 2028.
So the last year he would run would be 2028.
Yeah. So the next upcoming elections, next two. This man is saying
he is going to be elected president.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like, I'm here for the, put it out in the universe,
Yeah, like protect the species, the Sasquatch, get rid of the chemtrails.
Yeah, like I love this, like, what is it called? Where you like put it out in the universe and it is, oh my God, what is it?
Manifestation.
Manifestation. Like, is it manifestation that he's doing here, or what is it?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. How could he know such a thing? Since 2004, Andrew Basiago has made public claims that as a child, he was a test subject in the secret government program called Project Pegasus, which worked on teleportation and time travel. Currently, he is the leader of something called the Truth Movement, which is a campaign to lobby the government to declassify information that they have that's been kept from the public that includes teleportation, time travel, and government relationships with extraterrestrials.
Oh my God.
But all of that wouldn't have happened without his father, Raymond. Andrew Bostiago's father, Raymond F. Bostiago, was a 1951 graduate of Lehigh University, which at the time had the world's leading electrical engineering program at the, is it baccalaureate? Baccalaureate?
Dude,
it's not baccalaureate.
I don't think it's botch, but baccalaureate
level.
Baccalaureate.
After graduating from Lehigh, he was inducted into the Engineering Honor Society Eta Kappa Nu. From 1952 to 1955, he worked at Okanite Company in Paramus, New Jersey, when he was approached by an Air Force colonel to report the following Monday to work on the Ramjet engine to design a metal alloy that would allow the ramjet to come in contact with friction from molecules of air in our atmosphere or space dust in outer space without melting. So everything that I'm telling you guys is from Andrew Basiago's 2-hour seminar lectures that I watched on YouTube. So I didn't really get to type out all of this, but I have little notes here and there that I wanted to just discuss. And he said that they had approached his father because that night, so that happened on a Monday. So that earlier, I think it was a Thursday, the Thursday prior to this, there had been all of these UFOs spotted above the Capitol building
in
DC, and it made headlines in Washington DC that these UFOs were spotted, and back in 1952 this happened. And so they were holy fuck, we need someone to come and amp up this jet,
right
we
now.
got to get higher up in altitude in space. So they came and scouted out his dad as an engineer for this jet.
Damn.
From 1956 to 1964, Andrew's father, Raymond, researched teleportation at Thomas Edison Research Laboratory in West Orange, New Jersey. During this, he was asked to repeat Nikola Tesla's teleportation experiment, basically asking him, try to figure out how to open up a portal tunnel in the fabric of time. Can you imagine just being hey, could you recreate Nikola Tesla, the fucking genius? Could you recreate that just real quick? Just no big deal.
No big deal. While you're trying to create this engine that doesn't get fucked up by space dust that we don't have in our hands.
Right.
Do you mind to build a wormhole through time?
Through space and time.
That Tesla did.
Yeah.
While you're at it. No, I'd be literally, no, I can't. It's the 50s.
Yeah,
what?
It's literally 1950. He was a senior projects engineer with the Ralph M. Parsons Company and worked at the Curtiss Wright Aeronautical Company facility in Woodbridge, New Jersey in the building 68. He spent the majority of his years studying and replicating the work of Tesla under government orders, which brings us to Nikola Tesla. It is believed by Bostiago that Nikola and much of the government and much of history and everybody, that Nikola Tesla was in possession of teleportation technology, not time travel, but teleportation, at the time of his death on January 7th, 1943.
Okay.
At his suite in the New Yorker Hotel in Manhattan, he had a laboratory there with different devices kind of just mocked out on paper.
Right.
His last remaining years of life, he was kind of acting dissolute as if his creative career as an inventor was over. He spent the majority of his time raising his 15 pigeons in his apartment, but that's what he wanted people to believe.
Oh, yeah.
The last 15 years of his life were not devoted to pigeons or raising pigeons, but dedicated to developing teleportation. And he did this because tons of people were after him.
Yeah.
They wanted his ideas. The day he died, January 7th, 2 teams raced to his apartment to seize all paperwork. And if you guys, I went more into depth on this in the Tesla episode. I don't know what episode that is, but somewhere in there. The day he died, January 7th, 2 teams raced to his apartment to seize all paperwork, and they had the congressional authority to do so by the United States because Nikola Tesla was not a United States citizen. So they used the Alien Properties Act to seize all property and belongings of any resident alien and hand it over to the National Archive.
Whoa.
Which I'm sure they literally, the day he died, they're let's make up this act real quick. Okay, okay, the
type this up, okay, go ahead and file this and that.
Residential Alien Act, okay, and
Print.
Filed and break into his apartment right now.
We spelled alien wrong.
And steal his motherfucking shit.
Yeah, right now.
So they stole his shit and they utilized it. They made a new project and they built a machine that was designed around the plans found in Nikola Tesla's New York apartment after his death in January 1943. According to Bostiago, the machine consisted of 2 gray elliptical arrows about 8 feet high, separated by about 10 feet, between which was this shimmering curtain of what Tesla called radiant energy. Radiant energy is this form of energy that Tesla discovered and is latent in penetrating into the universe. And among its properties is the ability to bend space-time, aka teleportation, aka time jumping. Crazy.
That is insane. Wait, was it the episode? It wasn't just about Tesla, right?
It was about Hawking's. It was all dive into that, and it was a Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah. God, I can't remember what. I was trying to remember what it was so they could go back and listen to it because it's vital to this story.
I think it might have been Philadelphia experiment.
I think it might have been too.
It was either Stephen Hawking's or Philadelphia experiment.
It's one of those two, but you guys have to go listen to that.
Actually, both. Just listen to both.
Just listen to both of them because both of those are so vital to understanding
the Philadelphia experiment is actually huge in this.
Yes, gigantic.
But also in a way with Tesla, it's huge because they stole his findings for the Philadelphia experiment.
Right, and then now they're having to redo it.
They stole Tesla's findings and they umbrellaed off of it into Project Pegasus, the Montauk Project, and the Philadelphia experiment. Those are the 3 branches that came out of what they stole from his apartment.
Right. God, that shit is so crazy.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
I feel so honored that we all get to learn about it from you.
I'm literally like, I don't know shit. Like, guys, I'm literally just listening to this guy's seminar and I'm like, okay, let me just jot down notes real quick and try to explain it the best I can.
No, but like, people wouldn't know about this if you didn't talk about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So let's talk about Project Pegasus.
I'm so excited.
What was it? The principal defense contractor involved in Project Pegasus was the Ralph M. Parsons Company of New York City. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Because that was Andrew Basiago's father's, like, that's who he worked for.
Right.
So the Ralph M. Parsons Company was based in New York City, New York, and was later based in Pasadena, California. Parsons is one of the world's 2 largest process engineering firms, and they actually built the entire city of, excuse my mispronunciation, Yanbi in Saudi Arabia.
Really?
They built the entire city.
That's sus.
Yeah.
What?
What's in that city? What's underneath that city
right.
is the better question.
But like, is that a real city? Like, do people actually get to live there, or is it all simulation? Like,
right.
Or is that where town travelers go to sit and chill?
Exactly. So Project Pegasus was commissioned by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA. DARPA at the time was considered like the think tank of the United States military, according to Bostiago. It develops weapons, surveillance technology, communications technology. It's basically like a gadget lab for the military that's centered in Washington, D.C. DARPA was using all sorts of ancient civilization knowledge. I'm talking like Babylonian, Sumerian, Egyptian civilizations. They would then cross that knowledge over with what they know of extraterrestrial technology from UFO crash retrievals, ET, like human liaison projects, and then they'd combine all of that with foreign technology from like Nazi Germany and Soviet Russian experimentation with time travel. And they were trying everything they could to try to get something to work with teleportation and time travel, but nothing was really working. Nothing came together until they got a hold of Nikola Tesla's teleportation drafts. Tesla, combined with ancient extraterrestrial and foreign knowledge, gave birth to Project Pegasus. Are you still with me?
I am here and I'm so
Isn't
ready.
That fucking crazy?
This shit is crazy.
And here we are again with Nazi Germany.
Dude.
Every single fucking time.
Every single time. We're talking about Nazi Germany.
Me out, dude.
We're talking about Russia with some crazy experiment. We're talking about fucking ancient aliens, literally.
Yep. Babylonian, Egyptian civilizations, they always pop in here.
Right, always.
So they were like literally taking like
it's like foundation of religion and innovation. That is where everything stems from.
Yeah. So while it was a DARPA project, at the same time, Project Pegasus became an intelligence project for the CIA as well. Because why time travel somewhere if you're not going to gather intelligence and as much information as you possibly can? And who better to test this machine out than the employees' children themselves? As a child, Andrew Basiago was gifted physically and intelligently. But now Basiago describes his childhood self from 1962 to 1972 as being a time-space cadet, or chrononaut, as they called him.
Chrononaut.
Chrononaut.
How do you say it?
Chrononaut.
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 I love that. I kind of want to name my kid Chrono.
Should we name our listeners Chrononauts?
Chrononauts. The creeponauts. Chrononauts.
Andrew Basiago was one of 140 children chosen by the CIA to undergo as a time traveler for Project Pegasus. Prior to his first jump, their first jump in general, these children were trained in what he calls alpha intelligence training. They were shown how to properly observe things, how to remember them, how to report them back, how to protect themselves, how to take a human life if needed, how to get information out to somebody in a creative way if they were ever held captive. They were literally these like psychic spies. Like, it was crazy.
And that's insane.
They were being trained on how to advance the activities of the CIA while advancing the time travel activities of DARPA as children. Andrew Basiago's first jump was in first grade.
That's crazy.
In the winter of 1968, when Andrew was 6 years old, his father took him to work, and it would change the rest of his life. At the time, his dad was working at Curtis Wright, and he walked Andrew up to in his building 68 or 86, dyslexia popping in right here. He walked Andrew up to the teleport that they designed, and Andrew remembers seeing these two like huge beams, and they were curved in like if you picture two parentheses. And his father held his hand, and he told him that on the count of 3, we're going to jump through this, and we're going to see light for a short period of time, and then we're going to find ourselves in another part of the country. Andrew, 6 years old, is just like, oh,
all right.
Okay, Dad. I mean, like, whatever you want. Like, okay. Like, what else is he supposed to say?
I'm a psychic spy, so like, I mean, nothing's gonna surprise me.
Right, but at the time he wasn't. He didn't have any of this training.
You're right.
This was like the first time he had ever jumped. His father, Raymond, then told the technician to turn the device on, and this radiating energy began filling the floor, and this curtain came out in front of them. Andrew and his father jumped, and they found themselves inside the Vorta tunnel in time-space. He described it as a big bluish-white holographic sort of tunnel. Within seconds, they arrived 2,000 miles across the country in New Mexico's state capital. They were greeted by a man named Bill Richardson and were given a state car to drive to Los Alamos, where they met another man named Dr. Harold M. Agnew with paperwork. And this is how the conversation went. And during his seminar, he kind of described it as like, you're in customs at an airport. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you have your persons going through your paperwork, and they just like don't ever really pay attention. Like, you're just like handing them your shit, and they like don't ever look up, really. They just like look at your face, make sure it's you, stamp your passport, and they give it back. Yes. But this guy, he's like, how did your trip go? And, you know, and Raymond Bostiago is like kind of like skeptical, but like he's pretty clever. He was a pretty clever guy. And he was like, it was fine and fast. And I guess the guy like looked up, and he was like, oh, did you take the teleporter? Like, he knew.
Oh my God.
Raymond was like, yep. And so did my number 3 son, Andrew.
Oh my God.
And he like called his kids like number 1, number 2, number 3. Like, they had to for documentation.
Right.
And the Dr. Agnew like looks at Andrew, and he was like, how old are you? And little Andrew's like, I'm 6. Mm-hmm. And I guess this like the doctor's like face like went from like busy worker, like a passport office with no smile ever, they just stamp your passport and go, to like this like so intrigued, like the biggest smile on his face, wanted to know more, was just like infatuated by these people who literally just teleported from fucking New Jersey
to New Mexico.
And Raymond was like, says to the doctor, have you tried it yet? And the doctor's like, no, but I really, really want to.
What?
So they were
just have you tried it yet?
Like, it was just like this new, like it was brand new, and it was like he was the creator of it. His father was like, he was one of the OG creators of this jumping space. Right. I think it was probably his first jump. Like, this is never clear anywhere. Right. But I'm thinking it was probably his first jump, and he wanted to take his son with him through. Yeah. And he was like, if something happens or wherever I end up, I want to have my son with me. Yeah.
Damn.
I do. I think that's how it went down.
Could you imagine if if Bucky or Chip were like, you want to go jump through time with us?
I would have been like, fuck yeah.
Like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Do you know where my dad would have taken me?
To a fishing tournament?
No, I probably would have ended up back with the dinosaurs with like a fucking muzzleloader on my shoulder, like shooting shit.
And he's like, all right, I'm going to taxidermy this one.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's real nice.
You think this will transport back good? I think my dad would take me to like an OG Motley Crue concert, and we'd watch Tommy upside down on the drums coming in with fire shooting out of it, and be like, isn't this awesome? And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't want to come back here.
You'd be at Woodstock 99.
Yeah. No, oh my God, not Woodstock 99. I'd go to Woodstock 69 or 67 or whichever one it was.
To make the return trip, they were taken to Sandia National Laboratories, where there was yet another device. So I kind of skipped through all of this, but the reason they went to the New Mexico State Capitol was because the laboratory there in San Jose, I guess, was actually infiltrated with like the KGB.
Whoa.
And it was a landing pad for their jumping space. Like it was like the other receptor end of where they were jumping.
Right.
But because it was infiltrated, that's why they got the state card. They had to leave like quickly.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know. It was really
meanwhile,
fucked up.
Dr. What's-his-fuck wants to sit here and chit-chat. We're like, we got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, he like goes into crazy depth about like how like they had Soviet spies infiltrated into the laboratory. And he's like, and that's known knowledge now. You look it up on Google. That laboratory was infiltrated with the KGB.
And he's been talking about it before it was even out, right?
Yeah. Crazy
Damn,
shit.
that shit's whack.
To make the return trip, they were taken to a different laboratory called Sandia National Laboratory, where there was yet another device, and they arrived back in New Jersey 10 minutes after they left New Jersey. So time travel was involved, and this was 1968.
Damn.
So they teleported and they fucking time traveled. So that was Andrew Bastiago's first jump, but he didn't join the program officially until 1969 when he was a third grader. He was one of 140 children and 60 adults, including his dad, who were a part of Project Pegasus. But why children? According to Bostiago, they taught children with adults to test if they were, they trained children or tested children with adults to see if there were differences in the impact of time travel on people of different ages. And it turned out that children had an advantage over adults in terms of adapting to the tension of movement between the past, present, and future. So basically, it was easier for kids to jump through time.
Yeah.
So therefore,
and your brain's still fluid, so you can like understand and not be so traumatized by it.
Yeah.
Because like, could you imagine jumping right now? I would be fucking mind blown. I would literally be like, whoa. But as a kid, like we dream of shit like that. You know, we literally have an imagination that can take you there.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Whack.
From what we know of Bostiago's first jump, there was hardly any time travel involved, only teleportation. But from the time that he was officially signed on as a chrononaut, he endured training after training until he was ready to jump by himself. His first jump by himself, he only went backwards 1 hour so that his body could get used to the sensation. And then shortly after, Andrew would become a full-fledged professional time traveler working throughout his entire childhood. He was sent on missions to simply observe important historical figures during major events. He states that the CIA and DARPA had a keen interest in verifying the truth of events surrounding these important figures because of how vital they are to the nation's history. For example, he said that he traveled to the Middle East to report on Jesus.
Damn.
And was sent to the Revolutionary War to report on George Washington. But for both of those times, he was there to simply observe. Like, they just wanted, like, verification that there's truth in this. Like,
go see Jesus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to stay away. I would literally have to go and be like,
I'd be like, sir, can you walk on water real quick?
Yeah, can you just do this really fast? Like, Jesus is like, what is that in your hand? It's an iPhone.
But like, Jesus would know.
Jesus would know. You're right. Jesus
would be
know.
like, that kid is from 1968. What are you doing back in BC?
You're not supposed to be here.
You know?
Yeah. I wonder like what he observed Jesus doing.
I know.
Like, I wonder if it was to see him raised from the dead, or if it was to verify that he was actually a human being who who had these like special gifts and was the child of God.
Right. I have no idea.
That is insane.
Bostiago's most widely known trip through time was to Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address. And why is this trip the one that he's most known for? Because he claims to have photographic evidence of his presence there.
That's crazy.
According to Bostiago, this picture that I'm showing Taylar, it's also on our Instagram right now. This is him dressed as a Union bungle boy standing in the middle of Gettysburg Address. I know you've seen the picture a million times.
Yeah, but I'll see it a million more times. Yep.
Cute.
Yep.
Cute little boy. Bostiago said that he had arrived just outside of Gettysburg as a 7-year-old boy, but that he showed up barefoot and pretty badly dressed. So he was taken in by a Union like shopkeeper, and he was given a uniform and like oversized shoes, like adult male shoes. Mm-hmm. They were the only ones left in the shop. Literally captured next to fucking Abraham Lincoln at the Gettysburg Address.
Literally.
Let's talk about that real quick, because why would a child be at the Gettysburg Address?
Right, number one. And number two, why would a child with a 70s haircut be in whatever year that was?
Right.
What year
Literally,
is that?
they're all in, like...
Everybody else is in, like...
military outfits.
Yes, military outfits and the big sideburns and shit that you would expect to see during this time. And then there's a little kid with a bowl haircut.
With shoes that are way too fucking big for him.
Huge on him.
And he's just chilling.
And he's just walking around by himself.
Like, I think I'm at the wrong place. Hi.
Yeah.
But the Gettysburg Address wasn't the only time that Andrew had visited President Lincoln. And some of his most important trips back in time, he dropped in on Lincoln during his infamous visit to the Ford Theater where he would be assassinated. According to Bostiago, the purpose of these trips was to verify who had actually been responsible for President Lincoln's assassination. He went to the Ford Theater on the night of Lincoln's murder 5 to 6 different times, but he never got to the moment of the murder. Once he heard the gunshot and witnessed the huge commotion in the crowd, like that's as close as he got. He said that, quote, each of my visits to the past were a little different, as if I was being sent to like different alternate realities located on adjacent timelines. As these visits accumulated, I bumped into myself twice on 2 different visits.
I would shit my pants.
So they kept sending him back.
And so he's there with his other version of himself who was just there. Yeah. Multiple of them. There's 6 of him there.
I literally think that Project Pegasus is responsible for all the shit that we have going on right now.
Deja vu.
Anything that's wrong with the world.
Everything.
They're the reason they have fucked
up too many timelines.
Yeah.
Damn, we need timekeepers.
Yeah.
Loki.
During one of his jumps, he was sent to the year 2045, where he was this is Taylor's favorite part.
This is my favorite part.
Where he was transported to a building made of emerald and tungsten steel. He was sent on a mission to receive small canisters of like microfilm summaries of like events between the years 1972 and 2045, and then take them back to the 1970s. He described the environment like a garden city of tomorrow, with a little bit of a balance between the built and the natural environment, with very advanced activities going on. There were no cars. There was no pollution. At some point, he said there was a clear positive transformation of society that involved the use of teleportation to get rid of all of these like very polluting forms of transportation that we use today. Like, can you imagine being able to teleport to the Bahamas?
Yeah, instead of having to get on a flight, you just...
Or like literally me being like, okay, we're done recording. Boop, I'm back home. Boop.
We have just like a teleportation wall right there. You just walk through it. But then how do you shut that off? Like, what if someone just fucking walks into your house?
Like, you have to give access, you know?
Yeah, like how would they even like organize that? Like, would we have to have like teleportation passports?
I have no idea. Yeah, like, do you have to like meet up with somebody?
Right. Like, how would we like be okay with who's walking where and doing what? You know, like, wouldn't that be crazy? But could you imagine if we could get rid of roads, how much more space we would have, like how much more beautiful the earth would be?
Yeah, but how do you even get rid of roads?
We just...
What do you do with all that cement?
They would have to find a way to like dissolve it in a way that it could be like turned into soil to make
or
to grow
something
things.
That's...
Or they could
compost.
Hell, they could use it and melt it back down and build buildings with it, because they're going to have to build more buildings. We are overpopulated.
Yeah. Anyway, Taylor, this was her favorite part because he always said that. You want to tell them? Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, the most memorable thing, the first time I ever heard this, when M covered it on And That's Why We Drink, it was this building and about how it was the only time he went to the future, and so this is his way to prove that he was actually there. So he wants to go, when this happens...
In 2045.
He wants to go and get himself from afar on video, confirming his identity, and that he wants other people to be there. And at first, I kept thinking, oh, is it in New Mexico? But obviously, that's just me going back to the first jump where he went to New Mexico. But it still could be
at that lab
if that was still where they used to go get all that information. Yeah. So anyways, I'm really curious to see if that's it.
You guys can catch us. It's going to be a Creeps and Crimes.
We've had it on the calendar for 4 years.
At the year 2045, which is what, 20 years from now?
20 years.
23 years from now will be what?
I don't know, but we'll have kids. We're going to load our fucking kids up in the car, and I'll be like, will you take them with you to go to
We won't even be 50.
Oh my God, we're still going to be kicking it. We're still going to be up in there, up in that motherfucker. Are you Andrew Basiago?
You think he'll be alive?
If not...
if he keeps talking, he ain't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but we'll be there to confirm it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a whole, like, Bostiago, like, religion.
Like, crew, yeah, for sure.
That would go to confirm it.
Damn.
Because if that's the only thing that we all like cognitively are aware of and has been released to the public, then that could confirm teleportation and time travel.
Yeah. Damn. But why would the government stop it? Like, do you think they did it for their own personal gain, or you think they did it because it was too dangerous?
Well,
because they were fucking up too much.
Are you going into that at all, or do you want me to to say.
Oh, no, you can go.
So basically what I remember from my own personal like obsession with this case for the longest was not only did they only use children because of the mental toll that it took on adults, it was also because they started off using like children that they stole from orphanages because the teleportation, which I think we might have talked about this in Philadelphia, basically like it took forever for your body to reload once you had teleported.
Yeah, that's why those people got molded to the ship.
Yes, and like there would be people that came back without half their body. Yeah, and so they used these kids because it was smaller and that they could get them through faster and not have to worry about their bodies not coming back in one piece. Yeah, and all that, but it was just like they were literally stealing children to do it. So like I bet they got caught or got in trouble and they're like, you're gonna have to stop this. And so they started using the kids, and then once they get to a certain age, like your mind becomes no longer fluid. Like that's just naturally how we evolve.
Yeah. And I also think it has something to do with like, I'm actually gonna go into this a little bit in a second, but they at first, were just like observing and gathering information, but they started to like do a little bit of intervening and like they were altering. Yeah. And that's like the big red flag. And I think they realized those consequences just right when they would jump back, they'd be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because you'd come back and your kids would be gone. Yeah. Because you did one thing, and that butterfly effect is so whack. It makes you not even be real. Yeah. Like if I went back in time and did one thing, like if I helped my mom fix one thing in her life that she looks back on and she regrets, I literally would not be alive. Yeah.
Crazy.
Whack. And now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Morgan, how well do you take care of Ollie?
Like a king, like the monkey king that Ollie is.
And Morgan, don't you give Ollie the best of the best? Nutrition, food, play toys, anything he wants.
Absolutely. Are you kidding? Ollie eats all natural, fresh food. His toy basket is replenished weekly. He takes his vitamins as a bedtime treaty every single night. He gets royal treatment.
Right. You treat Ollie like the king that he is. But do you treat your brain and your food and your body the same way that you treat his?
Absolutely not. And we see that often with how people take better care of everybody else around them, their significant others, their children, their pets, and they're often leaving themselves in the dark, and we're not taking care of our own bodies and our brain and our mind.
Right. And how we care for our minds, our brains, our bodies affects how we experience life. So it's important to invest time and care into keeping them healthy.
There are plenty of ways to support a healthy brain. You can learn a new language or take power naps, but there's also BetterHelp online therapy.
And you guys already know my experience with BetterHelp online therapy was top tier and helped me through a very difficult time in my life.
BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat online therapy sessions. So you don't really have to see anybody on camera if you don't want to.
And it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. Not to mention how fast it is. Like I got matched with a therapist in under 48 hours.
Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/creepsandcrimes.
That's betterhelp.com/creepsandcrimes.
So anyway, their main objective was to observe, gather information. They were never to interact or intervene except when it was attempts to change the future. And they were sent on missions of visiting the past and future presidents. And this is when something called chronogarchy comes into play. Chronogarchy is the neologism that signifies those who rule through time or the manipulation of it. Ooh. And this is insane. According to Bostiago, the United States presidents George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joseph Biden were pre-identified by the U.S. government using Project Pegasus as future United States presidents in 1971. They were groomed for their future positions by DARPA and the CIA through secret meetings. As kids, they were like groomed.
Chrysler. This is wrong.
Yeah. So this is like anytime these kids were sent out, they weren't supposed to intervene, they weren't supposed to do anything, but except for when it came to the future of the United States. That's when they started to intervene.
Right.
So they would go jump in time. They would see that Donald Trump became president in 2016, and they would go back and they would start grooming him to be president. Bostiago states that he personally witnessed a number of these time travel briefings and grooming sessions of U.S. presidents by the DARPA and CIA personnel. That is just fucking crazy.
That is fucking crazy.
But he doesn't talk much about that.
Did he like talk about any more that are supposed to be in the future other than him?
No, just him.
Maybe he goes after Biden.
Maybe it's him, and then we don't have another president again.
Right. Damn. But
Bostiago not only would jump from place to place on Earth and back and forth from time, but also to different planets. And he made a huge claim that Barack Obama was a part of this with him. While the White House denied these claims when he was in office, Bostiago and another man named William Stillings, who was also part of Project Pegasus, say differently. Bostiago and Stillings claim that Obama, along with the current head of DARPA, Regina Dugan, were in their Mars training class at California's College of the Soccees in 1980. This program was part of a group of 10 young adults who were chosen to travel to Mars via a top-secret teleportation jump room. The then 19-year-old Barack Obama went by the name Barry Soetoro.
Damn.
The Chrononauts made it to the Red Planet through a jump room that instantly transported them to the Martian surface, where the United States had already established secret government bases. Stillings and Bostiago said that they met Obama there on 2 different occasions, including one time when Bostiago and Obama went through the jump room together. They also said that Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, was there too. She was an experienced CIA agent who had previously carried out assignments in Kenya and Indonesia.
What?
Bostiago and Stillings say the purpose of the Mars program was to establish a, quote, defense regime protecting the Earth from threats from space, with the United States asserting territorial sovereignty over the planet.
Oh my God.
Bostiago describes life on Mars during a PowerPoint presentation in 2012 where he talks about walking lizards on the surface of Mars, aka reptilians.
Oh my God.
He said each time he was sent there, he and everyone else would experience severe dehydration during the teleportation, and it was unlike going back and forth in time on Earth. They spent days there speaking to the extremely intelligent beings they met on their visits. And he says that participants were transported to the Martian surface via the jump room, which was located in the town of El Segundo in California. This served as a portal between planet Earth and the United States base on Mars. He claims that he and his fellow Martian explorers had to go through training courses aimed at teaching the participants what to expect when they got to Martian surface, for example, predatory species, Martian humanoids, etc., because there was more than one alien species on Mars.
Holy shit.
These training courses were held by Major Ed Dames. Major Dames is a decorated military intelligence officer, and he retired in 1991. Major Dames was serving as a scientific and technical intelligence officer for the United States Army at the time, and he was alleged to have been at the forefront of these missions to Mars, and he was also the creator of technical remote viewing. So remote viewing is defined as the practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen target using subjective means, so like ESP, which is extrasensory perception, aka 11. AKA Stranger
literally
Things.
11.
Regrettably, in recent times, Major Dames has sought to distance himself from the claims made by Andrew Basiago, and he has actually came forward and personally denied any involvement with this young teenage Martian program.
Who got to him?
Yeah.
Bostiago
and Stillings' claims have been corroborated by 3 other Mars whistleblowers, including Laura Magdalene Eisenhower, the great-granddaughter of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, which she pops up in just about every single conspiracy theory.
Wasn't she in Thor?
She's in every yeah, she was in Valiant Thor.
Yeah.
She is in everything. So I think our girl got a hold of some like crazy ass journal from her great pap.
She did.
Or she's just like a clout chaser. One of the two. Like, I think she does. Like, I think she has, like, the secret presidential book.
She has to.
Like, a copy of it. Like, he left her it.
The fact that, like, Eisenhower has so much involvement in the majority of these, like, literally, what you were talking, in the very, very beginning, you said Eisenhower's name, like, 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane, the shit that is involved.
Yeah, and her name always, at any type of government conspiracy.
That's where Andrew Bostiago's dad went to college, was somewhere in Eisenhower.
Yeah, any worked for the laboratory.
Yeah.
Any type of like government whistleblower that exposes some type of like project like this, This girl, what's her name again? Laura Eisenhower. She's there to back it up.
She's number one. She's first on the scene.
She's like, no, they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
You guys need to listen to them.
Maybe how is she like alive? Like,
should we call her?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we should literally call her and be like, what book do you have?
Yeah. What do you have that has all the proof? Because you can't be at all these places.
No, you can't be there. She has to have some log.
And to be the great granddaughter, like you're very
distanced from it all. Like, you weren't even alive when Thor was here.
Yeah. And also, this is just a side note here, but the first that we heard about possible liquid water on Mars was when Obama was in office. So, yeah, the White House denied these claims of him ever being a part of this group, but could we say that maybe he was, like, eager to acclimating us to the idea that Martian life exists? Right. Like, he was already out there, you know, doing his Martian things. He was hanging out with the lizard people. Maybe he was just trying to get the world ready to take part in his interstellar community.
Well, not even to mention the fact that there's literally that video of him with Will Smith and his family, like Will Smith's family, all of them, and they're with Obama, and Obama is what's the son's name? Jaden?
Yeah,
Jaden's like, Dad, can I please ask him? Can I please ask him? And Will Smith's like, no. And then Obama's like, what do you want to ask me? And he's like, are aliens real? And he took him into this room, and they like never spoke about it again.
It's fucking crazy.
And he was like, I can't say that they're not real.
Yeah.
And they like showed him videos and shit. Like, I want to be that
Obama
famous.
actually has a lot of conspiracies going back from like where he originated from.
Yeah,
and, like,
that
his
was a
early
big thing.
life. Like,
yeah.
He's
that was a huge
lot
thing
going on. So I mentioned William Stillings a little bit, you know, just then. Like, he was the one that was corroborating Andrew Basiago about this Mars project. So a little bit about him. Mr. Stillings is the son of a Navy lieutenant. He backs up Bostiago's claim to the jump room technology often. He's kind of the voice of this jump room. Actually, Andrew Bostiago sticks to Project Pegasus. This jump room is separate from Project Pegasus, and he talks a lot about the use of the technology to travel to the secret United States base on Mars, aka the jump room. He claims to have been on the same training course as this young woman named Regina Dugan, and Miss Dugan is the 19th director of DARPA as of July 2009. And this is another fun fucking fact. Regina Dugan was appointed head of DARPA by Barry Soetoro, aka Obama, when he was in office.
Oh my fuck.
So these two crossed paths. They were both in the program.
Right.
So William Stillings and Andrew Basiago are saying they were in this program with Regina Dugan and Barack Obama.
Right.
Regina and Obama are denying these claims, but then Obama is now appoints her to be the head of DARPA.
Wow.
They had a connection somewhere. They crossed paths somewhere.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this is a completely different side note, but since we're talking about like presidents and shit, I was at a bridal shower yesterday for one of my really good friends, and
was Andrew there?
No, but I got to talking about with my old cheer coach about Ivana. Ivana, is that her name? Trump, who just recently died.
Ivanka,
thank you. I couldn't think of her name.
She died.
The mom of so is that Ivana and there's Ivanka?
Ivanka's the daughter.
Yeah, okay, so the mom, so his like one of his wives,
okay,
not anymore, she died, and it was like released like very quickly.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
And then ripped out of the media, and they literally just like quickly buried her, and like no one else said a peep.
I had no idea until just now.
Yeah. And people, like a lot of conspiracy theorists, which this is what Melissa was telling me about. I was like, what the fuck? She's like, you have to look it up on Reddit. The shit that they're talking about is stuff that was like things that he was involved in before that have more to do with his presidency than even his current wife when he was president.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot more.
Yeah, because all these presidents are groomed since the 70s that they're going to be the president.
So now like like when you've been talking about this the whole time, I'm literally shitting my pants. I'm like, fuck, was she a part of the grooming?
Yeah.
And that's why they just like quickly buried her, moved on. And people are saying that they want to go dig up her grave because they think they buried her with something.
Probably.
Yeah, like documentations of some shit.
Holy shitballs.
Yeah, we need to look into that.
Okay, so I'm wrapping up here. Andrew's goals. Why is he whistleblowing? What does he want out of this? Andrew wants to lobby the United States government to disclose its teleportation secret so that teleportation can be adopted on a global basis to help humanity achieve sustainability on the 21st century. He wants to turn us or aid us into what he saw in that year of 2045. He envisions a world in which teleports will replace airports for real-time transits between major transport hubs around the world. This would mean billions of tons of pollutants would no longer have to enter the atmosphere. If teleportation technology was made public, it would revolutionize transportation across the face of our planet. Andrew feels that there is a great potential to the use this technology to really address our global environmental problems and create a 21st century far different and more advanced than the 20th century that we just left. And he believes that it is time to expose the government. This is just some small insight into the possible world of time travel, teleportation, and interplanetary travel, beginning with ancient civilization knowledge, combining with Tesla, and ending with lizard people and Obama. Like, holy shit, what a fucking segment. Honestly, a lot of this information, guys, was really, really difficult to find. It involved a ton of PowerPoint YouTube presentations. Like, I'm talking, think of your slowest talking professor in college.
No.
And watch their YouTube videos of a PowerPoint with just pictures on it.
That's awful.
And these were presented by Andrew Basiago himself. So it was really cool to hear him talk and to hear his experiences, but they were literally like 4 hours long. And then he'd be like, okay, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for part 2. And I'm like, no. Is that what they feel like when they listen to us? Like, I'm like, oh,
no
God.
Shot.
But anyway, it was really hard to put all this together into one segment. It was like he would really ramble jamble. So I really tried to organize it the best way that I could. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I did it justice.
You did.
DARPA Babe, if you could just let us teleport, like, I beg of you.
Do you mind? Just so we can see like what we need to be prepared for.
And I also just wanted to slightly mention, that's all I have, but I just wanted to talk about it. I don't know if you guys remember, and I don't necessarily remember which Marvel movie it was, but there was something called Project Pegasus, and it was like P.E.G.A.U.S. Whatever. Very interesting.
I can't remember which one it is either, but I remember talking.
And it might have been a show. It might have been one of their series
Was
shows.
that what it was? I think that's maybe what it was.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. This one is so crazy because it involves so many things.
And it really reminds me of that whole Mars ordeal, like out of California, really tied the knot in for me with the 20 and Back program.
Yes.
Like, it was a lot of the same ordeal. Like,
yes.
Although they weren't necessarily teleporting to the 20 and Back, like when they were going to like literally be interplanetary slaves to other planets. Like, I forget that guy's name. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's fucking crazy. Also, you should listen to that episode. Damn. But like, that was based out of the Seattle, California area. And those were also trafficked children, and they were sending them, and they were gone for 20 years off of our time, so it was involving time travel, so it probably was intertwined with Project Pegasus. Absolutely. They were gone 20 years, their time, but would come back into that childhood body like they were gone for a blink of an eye, like one night's sleep.
That's traumatizing.
After they had just been a slave for 20 years, working, a hard-working labor slave.
That's wild.
Creating relationships, creating families, to be woken back up in an 8-year-old body back in your hometown of Arkansas. Like,
and you're like, I literally have an entire family.
Yeah. That's and your dad's crazy. Like looking at you like, you're fucking crazy.
Right.
It was a dream, buddy. And you're like, no, it wasn't. And I'll prove you wrong.
And there's like a million other people that came forward with that same fucking thing. Guys, thank you so much, Morgan. I've been waiting for this for years. I've been waiting for this for literally 2 years. Like, this is my favorite one that you've ever done because it's just so fucking crazy, and it involves like names and instances that we all believe, like we all know, we all like are very much aware of.
I have to do the Montauk Project soon.
You do. Maybe you should do that. Like,
I have to do it soon, but it's going to be one that needs some time.
It's going to need time. That's what I was just thinking. I was like, you can do it from 101. We don't have the time.
We need to record that in 3 days.
Yeah. Maybe you do that with the first episode of season 3.
Yeah. Maybe.
Because I'm going to do a long case for that one too.
Yeah.
So that would be a good episode. Yeah. Damn, guys.
Yeah. It's
Are you okay?
No, I like am just like letting it settle in. I'm like, that is so fucked up. Like, I'm just like, fuck. And like, none of those children, like even like Andrew, like his father was like, we're jumping through this hole. Like, he says like in all of his like PowerPoint presentations, he's like, that was unwilling. Like, I didn't give
You don't
I didn't
know.
consent to any of this. Like, I was literally I worked my entire childhood. No one believes me. I wasn't compensated. Look at me. I'm dubbed off as a crazy conspiracy theorist.
He's straight up a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. He's literally ran for presidency.
Dude, I'm so curious to see if he becomes a president.
I know.
Like that. But he's just like, it's like if me or you were to run for president. They would literally just pull these tapes and be like, you're not fit to be president. Yeah. You literally cannot pronounce mogul. Like, you cannot be a president.
You literally cannot pronounce Chronoaut.
No, but I'm so...
How can you be a Chronoaut if you can't even pronounce it?
I'm so interested for the 2040 whatever.
2045
or whatever. Because really what we need to be looking out of to see like if we can get there is how transportation evolves.
Yeah.
Because right now it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. And so that's what makes me wonder if there's something that got messed up in the timeline that stopped our evolution and our like innovative growth.
For sure.
Because there has to be something. And in my mind, it would have to be COVID. You know, like,
well, I think,
thinking about all the things that were
break in
set back.
Timeline, like, I think that is what caused COVID. And I think that did pause us. Like, I think we are to, like, this point of where we are put at a pause.
Yeah.
Like, for now.
Like, every human being feels, like, so trapped. Like, there's, after
but
COVID.
But it's also, I also feel like COVID caused this like physical stop, but it really opened people up spiritually.
It did.
And TikTok did that too.
Yeah, and TikTok happened to be like booming
right when COVID happened. Like everyone was all about like
could you imagine if we didn't have like, fucking COVID?
Meditations, like becoming one with the cosmos. Like everybody was about your spiritual like journey when COVID happened. And I think that advancement for society is way more gain than anything technologically could be.
Right.
Because once you're one with your creator, once you're one with spiritually with the energy, with the cosmos, like that's top dog. That's more advancement than any iPhone 25 but you think about can give you.
We continue to evolve, but like in a box. And for me, like there was a straight up shift in like reality that I felt.
Yeah.
Like when I think back about those days, like in quarantine and lockdown, I can't even like I can't even put into words like what I felt mentally, physically, emotionally. Like it was just like a blur. I
don't even remember COVID. Like I don't know what I was doing. Like, and also I was wondering if maybe they did fuck us up so bad that they used COVID as a way to lock us all in, reset the timeline, fix whatever they fucked up.
Right.
Like I don't know.
Crazy.
Like what were they doing? We were all locked inside. Like for the first time in years, like the busiest interstates, the busiest highways, there's no one.
Oh my God, they were doing time travel. They were testing fucking time travel.
They were testing something. They were doing something to the point where none of us could be outside.
Yeah. And it would have had to happen with one of their groups.
Biggest cities, Los Angeles, New York. Everything was on
You couldn't
lockdown.
fly.
Yeah.
You could not fly.
Yeah.
And then when you think about this, he's telling us about it, like, I feel like if we're getting to the point where it's like, 20 years away from now that we're going to be expected to not be in cars and shit, like, we need to start heading that direction. Like, we need to go, that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. But then you have people like, I'm not buying Elon Musk's Tesla. Why would I do that? I want my big Ford
I need my big old Ford pickup, my F-150. How am I supposed to be?
My diesel guzzler.
How the hell am I supposed to be moving all this lumber around?
Like, I do get it. Like, I get that, like, trucks are a very important part of society right now.
I never understood the value of a truck until Logan got a truck.
Yeah.
I was like, this shit is amazing.
This shit nice.
Yeah. You can pull shit all the way around this motherfucker with it. Yeah. You want me to move your mattress? Absolutely.
But,
I'll
like, if you
there.
can create an electronic car. I mean, Ford already has put out an electronic truck.
Yeah.
Like, there is a way to go. Like,
but I don't even think it's, like, going electric with individual, like, vehicles. I think it's literally going to turn into... We don't need all of this scrap and metal and software, hardware pieces sitting around doing this. But maybe COVID did happen in this original timeline. Maybe it wasn't a fuck up. Maybe that's what made us realize, like, we do not have enough labor to create all of these things.
Yeah.
Even though we're overpopulated, we don't have enough labor because people are being social media influencers.
People are podcasting.
People are fucking podcasting out here.
What the fuck are
Wait,
they doing?
why are they not out here working? What are they doing?
Surround yourself with people that want to work.
Yeah. Seems like nobody wants to work these days.
Fuck. Okay.
Jesus.
What do you have for us today, Taylar?
So I know I told you guys that I was going to do Casey Anthony because it was one of our...
But you fucking lied to us.
I lied to you.
It's just rude.
But it's only because that, yes, that is one of our most highly requested... Hello? Highly requested cases. Yes, it is. But... recently, you guys have been more and more requesting the Murdoch murders. And so I thought I would just give it to you right now.
Yeah, just give it to us.
Because, like, it's topical. It's in the news.
People at work.
It's the people at work, obviously. But I'm going to do Casey and Kaylee Anthony here soon. It's just, I'm doing this one first. Anyways, so before we get into this, the Murdaugh, which is how it is spelled, case is actually pronounced Murdoch, that I learned. Murdoch. And I want to start us because I feel like everyone knows, like, is familiar with this case, like, has seen it because it's been all over everything. But if you're anything like me, yes, I knew, like, the basics of it. I just never knew, like, the crazy amount of information and people and timelines that are involved in this case and how fucking crazy it is.
I can't wait.
So,
I don't know anything about this case.
Oh, good. I'm glad because you're gonna be.
I'm coming in blind.
You're gonna shit the bed when I tell you this shit.
I hope I don't.
You're going to. You're gonna ruin the table. I mean, the chair. You're gonna ruin the chair.
Literally ruin the chair.
I'm going to shit on this chair. Okay,
perfect.
So let's start with the family tree.
I'm called for it.
Randolph Murdaugh Sr. was born in Hampton County, South Carolina on February 28, 1887 to Josiah Putnam Murdoch Jr. and Annie Marvin Davis Murdoch. Randolph Murdaugh Sr. was the youngest of 6 children. He had 4 brothers and 1 sister who was the oldest of the 6. And all of their names and birth orders are Hattie Murdoch, Herschel Victor Murdoch Sr., Josiah Putnam Murdoch III, Paul Tillum Murdoch, then Mortimer? Yes, Murdoch, and then there's Randolph Murdaugh Sr. Randolph Murdaugh Sr. went to law school at the University of South Carolina and graduated in 1910. Upon graduating, Randolph Sr. founded a law firm on his own and was extremely well known and liked in the community. And now very, very wealthy, as his law firm would later become known as PMPED Law Firm, which I'll give you what those stand for later.
That's a mouthful.
It seems like pumped, like PMP, pumped, and then ED, pumped law firm.
Okay.
During this time, he married Etta Causey Harvey, and together they had 2 sons. The first one was Randolph, who they called Buster Murdoch Jr. on January 9th, 1915, and then John Glenn Murdoch on August 29th, 1918. But 18 days after giving birth to John Glenn, Etta died of sepsis due to complications during childbirth. Randolph Sr. then remarried 2 other times but had no more children. In 1920, he became solicitor in the 14th Judicial Circuit of South Carolina. And in South Carolina, a solicitor is basically a district attorney. It's literally the same thing, just a different name for it.
Okay.
Randolph Sr. held this position all the while running his own newspaper, owning his law firm. The newspaper was called the Hampton County Herald until his death in 1940 when he was hit by a fucking train.
Holy shit.
Driving home one night at 1 a.m.
Like in his car?
Yeah. He was hit by a train at 1 a.m.
Like just like stopped on the tracks.
Yeah, I guess. Or maybe he was like drunk driving and like didn't see it or something. Because like what else are you doing at 1 a.m.?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Holy shit.
Yeah. But for the purpose of this case, we're going to be focusing on Randolph Sr.'s first son, Randolph Buster Murdoch Jr. Buster, as I stated before, what did you say? Buster, yeah. And that name is in here a lot. That's what they call the juniors.
This reminds me of that one show, and I don't freaking remember what it's called.
What show? What's it about?
I know. Can I get back to you?
Yeah, get it back to me. Okay, so Buster, as I stated, was born on January 9th, 1915. He followed in his father's footsteps and attended law school and became a lawyer for his father's firm. In June of 1937, at 22 years old, Buster married his wife named Gladys Willis Marvin, and together they had one son named Randolph Murdaugh III in October of 1939, and one daughter, Brenda, who there is very little information on. When I say very little information, I'm talking I went through archives, through Ancestry, and I could not find her other than mentioned in his obituary. Upon Buster's father's death, Randolph Sr., in 1940, Buster took over as the 14th Circuit solicitor, as he had been the assistant solicitor to his father for all those years. Buster was known for his closing arguments in death penalty cases that were rebuked by the state Supreme Court, but also for his presence in court. He would actively chew tobacco through every trial and act out the murders in front of juries.
With a big dip in his lip?
Yeah. I'm like, first off, I wouldn't be able to pay attention.
No, I'm sorry. So you want to be taken seriously, but you got a big
dip in your mouth.
Big dip in your lip, and you're reenacting murders.
Like, I just don't, I wouldn't be able to pay attention to that.
Babe.
In 1956, Buster was indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly warning a bootlegger to move its steel into a neighboring county to avoid police and prosecution.
Well, fair.
Which he was later acquitted of. In 1986, Buster retired and later died in 1998 at the age of 83, just 1 year after the death of his wife Gladys, who died in 97. Upon Buster's retirement, his son, Randolph Murdaugh III, or Randy, who was serving as the assistant solicitor, took over for his father. So now this is 3 or 4 generations of the Murdoch boys as the solicitor for this 14th Circuit. Randy married his wife, Elizabeth or Libby Alexander, in 1961 after graduating from undergrad at the University of South Carolina. In January of 1964, Randy graduated from USC Law School, and he joined his family's law firm just like those before him and began serving as assistant solicitor to his father, Buster. Randy and Libby had 4 children together: Lynn Randolph IV, Richard Alexander Murdoch, and John Marvin Murdoch. Randy served as solicitor after his father's death until 2006, when he retired and returned to the family's law firm with his 2 sons, Randolph IV and Richard Alexander. Also from 1995 to 1996, Randy was elected president of the South Carolina's Solicitor Association. But after Randy's retirement, the Murdaugh's 86-year reign over the 14th Circuit as solicitor was over.
Wow.
However, his son, Richard Alexander Murdoch...
this family was running the fucking court.
They were running this area, like, straight up. I mean, money,
I would
law
be
firms.
afraid of them.
You should be. But his son, Richard Alexander Murdoch, who goes by Alec, even though it's spelled Alex, he goes by Alec.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
Yes. Continued volunteering part-time for the solicitor's office. And this is very important because he is who our entire story surrounds. Alec Murdaugh. Alec Murdaugh was born in 1967, and according to the Vox article I was reading about him, he was the golden child of his family.
Ooh.
And just like those before him, he went to the University of South Carolina for undergrad and for law school, graduating in 1990 from undergrad and 1994 from law.
Knowing what we know about donors and universities, I can only imagine what the Murdoch family has on the University
they all
of South
walked
Carolina.
on or played there. All of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they played for the football team there. While in undergrad, Alec met Margaret, who goes by Maggie Brandstetter, and the two got married in 1993. Maggie was born on September 15th, 1968 in Nashville, Tennessee to Terry and Kennedy Brandstetter. Her parents were high school sweethearts from Horse Cave, Kentucky, and after college, her father Terry was offered a job in Nashville with DuPont. That's where the couple had Maggie. When Maggie was young, Terry was transferred to Wilmington, North Carolina, and in 1980, he was transferred once again to Unionville, Pennsylvania until 1987.
Unionville?
Yeah, where's that at?
Uniontown? I only know Uniontown.
No, this is Unionville.
It's probably close.
Maggie attended Unionville High School and ran track until her father was transferred once again, but this time to Cooper River, South Carolina. And once Maggie had graduated from high school, she enrolled in the University of South Carolina and joined the Kappa Delta sorority. While in undergrad,
Katie
girls, Maggie was introduced to Alec, who was a walk-on football player for the Gamecocks and a year ahead of her. The two quickly fell in love with each other, and it all got serious. Alec was Maggie's first real boyfriend, and marrying him came with rules. The one main one was that she would have to move with him to Hampton, South Carolina, which didn't even have a fucking Walmart. Maggie was really close to her parents, and this was really hard for her.
Not fly with us.
No, I'm. Where do I put my water jug?
Where's the Hot Works? Where's the Nectar? Where's the Starbucks?
I need a drive-through smoothie bowl. I need a sushi spot. And I'm going to need a fresh market or I'm not going.
Where's the Nama?
Right. Where's the Nama? I'm not coming. So Maggie was really close with her parents. So this is going to be super hard for her. Not to mention the fact that the life as a Murdoch was old ass money.
Yeah.
Generational wealth. Nice fucking china that you just don't go to Home Goods and get something in your place because everything's given to you from like the people before you. And a massive role in the community. And this had like nothing to do with Maggie's personality. She was like a former athlete, super down to earth. She was super outspoken and fun. She had a really great dry sense of humor and just didn't give a fuck about how she dressed or looked or her hair like was nice and put together. She didn't give a fuck. She loved to drop a great F-bomb is what one of her really good friends says. And she would let you know how she felt about you, good or bad.
You know, I love her, but I also think that you would absolutely flourish in a family like that.
I've always thought I would, but then at the same time, I'm like, I literally can't be bothered to be out of my pajamas for a fucking recording.
I know, but like if you were like had to adapt, like you would be the person that I would choose. Like if I had to pick one of my friends now that had to, it was life or death. Like you have to go. You have to pick one of your friends or they all die. I would pick you to conform to that lifestyle and you would flourish in it.
I probably would. Yeah. I'd be like, let me go get the Christmas china out.
Yeah, you would vibe.
I would.
Be
I would
iconic.
Love it.
Chaotic, but iconic.
It would be chaotic, but very iconic. But Maggie loved Alec, so she put all that aside and they got married. They had 2 sons, which was Maggie's ultimate dream. She wanted to be a mother, and she was a fucking super mom. She never missed a PTO meeting. She was a room mom for every room. She was at every single sports event and moment. She did not miss a single thing. According to friends that were interviewed by the New York Post of Maggie's, she bent over backwards for her children almost to a fault. The couple's children are Richard Alexander Murdoch Jr., who they call Buster. So this is Buster 2.
Okay.
And he was born in 1996. And then we have their second son, Paul Terry Murdoch, who was born in 1999. Alec joined his family's law firm, PMPD, after graduating from law school, which this entire firm specializes in personal injury litigation. Oh. Very crucial to this. Before we move on, let's talk about Low Country, which is Hampton, South Carolina, the 14th district where they rule at, okay? It's referred to as Low Country, and it's a geographic and cultural region of South Carolina along the coast, including the Sea Islands, salt marshes, and coastal waterways, covering Beaufort County, Colton County, Hampton County, and Jasper County, which makes up the entire 14th Circuit in addition to Allendale County. The Low Country was built on slave-based agriculture, but is now heavily populated by African American communities, including the Gullah Geechee people, and the preservation of their history with Africanism, culture, and language, which is basically similar to an English-based Creole language.
Okay.
They use many Caribbean, African loanwords and grammar. But these communities are constantly under attack because of the tourism, environmental racism, and gentrification of the Low Country. And it mainly has to do with this 14th Circuit not caring about their culture in this area.
For sure, yeah.
Right.
I can already picture it.
It's because they own a lot of it. Like literally the Murdochs own like half of the town,
right?
The area that they live. So let's talk about the properties that just Alec's family, like him and Maggie and their 2 sons, own. A river property that they called Murdoch Island, a beach house in Edisto Island, the Moselle property, and the Moselle property contains 11 parcels of land that equal out to 1,772.2 acres between 2 different counties. And it has a family home, a hunting lodge, and a kennel. And they basically use all this land for hunting. And they would go to like bear camps and shit out there. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
The Murdochs also owned a few private coastal islands. And in addition to this, they owned tons of properties that connected to these islands. According to many articles, the family lived at each of these properties depending on the seasons throughout the year.
I just don't believe that.
I tell you all of this, the long family tree, the history, the area, the wealth, the legacy, the culture, so that you can fully understand this family's reach, their reign, their impact, and their privilege. But mainly, I want you to understand their control, which is terrifying.
I just don't understand how they got this from their fucking law office.
Because it was the solicitor. It was an 1887 solicitor position.
Yeah. Wow.
This family's dark history and hidden past reaches far, far back in history and time than 2019. But that is when bits and pieces were made public through a great tragedy. And that is where I want to start. February 23rd, 2019. Alec and Maggie's youngest son, 19-year-old Paul Terry Murdoch, was known for his excessive drinking and partying. So much so that friends and family would call his drunk alter ego Timmy. This Saturday, Paul invited 5 of his friends to go out to the Murdoch Island River House to spend the night and attend a house party / oyster roast at Palky Island later that evening at one of their friends' house. So this is who was invited over. Paul's girlfriend, whose name's Morgan Dowdy, Anthony Cook, and his girlfriend, Mallory Beach, Anthony's cousin, Connor Cook, and his girlfriend, Miley Altman. Before heading out to Murdoch Island, Paul and the friends stopped at this gas station where Paul went inside and purchased a 6-pack of Mick Ultra Limes, a pack of Natty Lights, and a pack of White Claws for the group, using his older brother Buster's ID to purchase.
Like everyone in the town didn't know who they were anyway.
Right. In the parking lot, the friends waited in the truck until Paul came outside holding the alcohol above his head and celebrating. And he jumps into the back of his father's boat, which he was pulling with his F-150, and he loaded the cooler. At approximately 6:30 p.m., the group got to the river house, put the boat in, loaded on, and left the boat dock at 7 p.m. in the boat. Paul was driving the boat to the house party with all friends on board. The 6 friends stayed at the party until midnight. They then all loaded back onto the boat and began heading back to the Murdoch's river house. But Paul then decided that he would rather drive the boat to the downtown bar area in Beaufort and keep the party going. Meanwhile, they're all 19, so they have to have their fakes.
Right.
So they arrived at this bar via boat at 12:45 a.m. and ordered 2 rounds of shots. At 1 a.m., the group began walking back to the dock and loaded on the boat once again. Everyone seems to be very intoxicated, but for Paul, as seen on the CCTV footage, he was extremely drunk, kind of falling all over the place. You can see he's kind of lingering by himself, being rude. They don't want to have anything to do with him, and that means his alter ego Timmy is coming out. At 1:15 a.m., Morgan, Connor, and Miley are the first to load onto the boat, followed by Paul, who was a few steps behind, and then Mallory and Anthony were further behind because they were hugging on each other and teasing each other as they were walking onto the dock. After this, they got on the boat and they drove off. It was clear that Paul was really too drunk to be driving, and he began driving the boat in circles, whipping it violently, turning it at high speeds, just being reckless. And it begins to scare the entire group. So Anthony asked Paul to drop them off at this dock that they were coming up on, but Paul said no.
I would jump out.
He dead ass didn't even slow down. He sped up.
That's fucking terrifying.
He would leave the wheel unattended while flying at high speeds to fight with his girlfriend Morgan, who was screaming at him to stop the boat because Mallory and Miley were screaming and crying and very scared. Paul allegedly spit on his girlfriend Morgan before returning to the wheel, which was typical for drunk Paul, aka Timmy. He then repeatedly left the wheel unattended to scream and fight at Morgan. But anytime Connor or Anthony would try to take over driving, Paul would become extremely upset with them, screaming and shoving them, saying, quote, "This is my boat. Nobody can touch the wheel other than me. I'm the only one allowed to drive this boat." All the while,
I would be sit your motherfucking ass down, boy.
I literally would have just choked him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, Connor, Miley, Anthony, Mallory, and Morgan are staying silent, just holding on to each other, gripping down on the boat, hoping that Paul would just get them the fuck home and stop flying. It seemed like every time someone would fight with him, he would just start driving more and more erratically. So they just were we're going to have to stop to get him to take us home. And because of the darkness, Connor had to use a flashlight to help guide Paul out of the waterways and away from any accidents. At 2:20 a.m., Paul drove the boat at 35 miles per hour into a pillar of the Arches Creek Bridge, ejecting some of the passengers out of the boat and into the water. Paul, Morgan, Anthony, Miley, and Connor were able to get back onto the boat and assess their injuries when they realized that Mallory was not with them. Connor immediately called 911 as Anthony used a flashlight to jump into the water, look from the boat for his girlfriend, who was moments before sitting on his lap, but she was nowhere to be found. Beaufort County Deputy Sheriff Stephen Donimo, who was one of the very first responders to arrive at the scene, found Anthony pacing and crying, screaming for Mallory. Domino was able to get Anthony into his patrol car, calm him down, and ask him some questions. But moments later, Paul Murdoch was seen emerging from the boat in the river, smiling. Anthony jumped up and tried to rush Paul, screaming and filled with anger when Domino had to stop him. Anthony, Connor, and Miley told officers everything that happened that night, but followed it by saying, "Do you know the Murdochs?" The officers responded, "Yes, I know of them." To which one of the three says, "Well, his granddaddy's Randy and his dad is Alec, so don't even bother with him. It's just going to be trouble." Basically validating the fact that even if Mallory's dead or severely injured, nothing's going to happen.
Come out of this, yeah.
Right.
He'll be fine. That is so, what a sick, twisted.
It's awful.
Oh my God.
All except for Anthony were taken to the hospital because Anthony wanted to keep searching for his girlfriend, Mallory. Connor's jaw was broken, Morgan's hand was badly injured, and Miley had smaller injuries, but not as severe. On the scene, Paul was never giving a field sobriety test. It wasn't until hours later at the hospital that, after hours of being uncooperative, his blood was officially drawn, and his BAC hours later was 0.286.
Whoa.
3 times the legal limit. Alec Murdaugh arrived at the hospital going room to room telling the survivors not to speak with police, that he would take care of them. After the fact, a security guard at the hospital overheard a phone call where Alec said, quote, "Don't worry, she's gone." Investigators and teams of volunteers used divers, rescue boats, and helicopters to search for 19-year-old Mallory Beach until March 3rd, 8 days after the crash, when 2 volunteers discovered her body 5 miles down the river from the crash site. Paul told officers that Connor was driving, not him.
Wow.
He was never arrested. He was never recorded. He was not even handcuffed at the scene or the hospital. Mallory's family then filed a wrongful death suit against the Murdochs, and the survivors came forward claiming that they had been threatened by Alec Murdaugh while in the hospital when he was going room to room to keep silent. On April 18th, 2019, which would have been Mallory's 20th birthday, Paul Terry Murdoch was indicted and charged with 3 felony counts of boating under the influence, the death of Mallory Beach, and serious injuries sustained by Morgan and Connor, to which he pled not guilty and was released on a $50,000 bond.
That's literally chump change to them.
Yep. Mallory's family then sued the entire, when I say like the entire, I'm talking like aunts, uncles, mamas, cousins, grandpas, everybody, the entire Murdoch family for her wrongful death, alleging that Alec Murdaugh, his sons, both Paul and Buster, and Alec's brother, Randolph IV, had each conspired to cover up Mallory's cause of death. The trial of Paul Murdoch was then delayed until the summer of 2021 due to the family's power, but more specifically was caused by Alec Murdaugh withholding his financial information, which Alec would not hand over until Maggie would make arrangements for a forensic accountant to review the entirety of their family finances.
What the fuck?
I don't know. And
what does that even mean?
Like someone to go in and basically say like, you need to clean this up. Like you're doing something illegal.
Holy shit.
And up until the trial, 3 different law officials had recused themselves from the trial because of their ties to the Murdoch family. Paul's trial led to an unraveling of the Murdoch family fortune. And in 2020, Maggie moved from the family's home in the Moselle property to the family's beach house away from her husband and was allegedly consulting with many divorce attorneys.
Good for her.
Paul was out on bond, living with his father at the Moselle property, awaiting for his trial, which was set to begin on June 10th, 2021.
Look, I know that we're in our pajamas right now, but for the last 2 weeks, Taylar and I legit have not gotten out of our clothes from Kaylee's boutique.
100%. So cute, so fresh,
Snatching.
so clean, snatched, y'all. And we are absolutely freaking obsessed.
At Kaylee's boutique, a owned and ran by woman boutique, we love that. Whoop, whoop. You are bound to find that perfect new piece to amp up any season's wardrobe.
Not only do they carry the latest in stylish fashions, from dresses to tees to high-rise jeans, but if there's anything ever wrong with your order, just send them an email and a real person will take care of you in freaking minutes.
And we're not even joking. They understand that women appreciate a good oversized tee and biker shorts, so they carry a vast selection of loungewear and athleisure.
But they also understand sometimes we want to look cute, feel cute, be cute, so they have plenty of options for that as well. And now we do too, because our closets are packed.
Check them out at Kaylee'sBoutique.com and use code CreepsAndCrimes to save 15% off your entire purchase.
That's CAELIS boutique.com and use code CreepsAndCrimes to save 15% off of your entire purchase. On June 7th, 2021, just days before, at 10:07 p.m., dispatch receives a frantic call from Alec Murdaugh. And here it is.
County 911, where's your emergency?
This is Alec Murdaugh at 4147 Moselle Road. I need the police to answer immediately. My wife and child have been shot badly.
Okay, you said 4147 Moselle Road in Allison?
Sir?
You said 4147 Moselle Road in Allison?
Yes, sir. 4147 Moselle Road.
Stay on the line with me, okay? Yes, sir. Stay on the line with me, okay?
Hello?
I'm still here. Stay on the line. I'm still here, okay? Carlton, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line, caller from 4147 Moselle Road. He's advising that his wife and child was shot. Mr. Murdaugh, go ahead and talk to Carlton.
It's 4147 Moselle Road. I've been up to it now. It's bad.
His wife and son had been shot and killed on their own property, their hunting property.
Oh my God.
52-year-old Maggie Murdoch and 22-year-old Paul Terry Murdoch were found dead on the family's Moselle hunting property by the dog kennels in Islandton, South Carolina. Both Maggie and Paul had been shot multiple times, but with two different weapons. Maggie had been killed with an assault-style rifle, and Paul had been killed with a shotgun. It was later determined that the two had been killed between 9 and 9:30 p.m. that evening, so just 30 minutes before the phone call. At the time of their murders, Alec, the father who was on the phone call, was with his father, Randolph III, who was terminally ill, and his mother, who had dementia. The next morning, the murders of Maggie and Paul were national news. And SLED, or the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, basically South Carolina's Bureau of Investigation.
Like their FBI?
Yeah, was investigating and taking over the entire case. Many guns were seized from the family's hunting lodge, and one that was taken was a perfect match for one of the two weapons used in the murders. And just one day after this double homicide, SLED releases a statement to the public saying that the public is under no risk at all and that they were not looking for suspects in this case. What does this mean to the public?
That it was someone inside.
Right.
The
It
family.
means it's either someone inside the family, a targeted attack, a killer who they knew, like they already knew who the killer was, and so they didn't need suspects, they already had them, or a murder-suicide.
Oh.
But if this was a targeted attack that they knew who the killer was, everyone believed that this was revenge for Mallory Beach's or Stephen Smith's deaths.
Who's Stephen Smith?
Well, this theory really got its legs the day after this because SLED announced that they were reopening their investigation into Stephen's death because of evidence they found during the investigation of Maggie and Paul Murdoch's murder.
Shit.
So who is Stephen Smith? Stephen Smith was a 19-year-old on July 8th, 2015, who was living in Hampton, South Carolina. That day, he called his mother during the evening to let her know that he had run out of gas. Hours later, he was found lying in the middle of the road, miles away from his truck, but also 5 miles away from his home, dead.
Holy shit.
An autopsy showed that he had died as a result of blunt force trauma, and it was assumed that he was a victim of a hit and run because his gas tank cover was left open, like he was going to get more gas. Many investigators and members of the community believed that this was no accident. Stephen had been murdered, but ultimately it was never investigated. Police later noted that the scene looked staged, and Stephen could have been targeted because he was an openly gay man in an extremely conservative area.
Oh my God.
Who would want Stephen Smith dead? Maybe a scorned lover? Okay, so who was he seeing at the time?
Oh God.
It was thought, but has never been confirmed.
Alec or Paul.
He was seeing Buster. And they had been dating for months at this point.
Oh my gosh.
And what's even more odd is that Alec's brother, Randolph IV, called Stephen's father the day after his death and offered to take their wrongful death case pro bono.
You're kidding.
I'm not bugging with you.
You're literally kidding.
Right? After Maggie and Paul's death, Alec stayed out of the media, letting his team handle everything, and he would stay in hiding until September of 2021. So this is June to September. He is nowhere in the media. We didn't hear directly from the family at all until 10 days after the tragedy with Alec's brothers, and they went on ABC's News Exclusive begging the public for help. In this interview, it was alleged by the Murdaugh brothers that Paul had been receiving death threats in the weeks before his death. However, this claim has never been confirmed by investigators. On June 25th, Alec and family posted a $100,000 reward for any information that led to the arrest of those who killed his wife and son. But it had to be before September 30th, 2021.
What kind of reward has an expiration date?
Right. Especially if it's your wife and son who was murdered.
Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
But still, there were no public appearances or pleas made by Alec, only his brothers. And he was already looking sus, but this distance in the media made him look worse. And I forgot to mention, 3 days after Maggie and Paul's murder, Randy Murdoch, Alec's father, died of natural causes.
Oh, shit.
And it comes out that Randy, was the reason why Maggie was even near her estranged husband, Alec, that day on the Moselle property. Earlier that day on June 7th, Alec texted Maggie asking her to meet him at the Moselle property so that they could both go visit Randy, who was days away from passing. Maggie told Alec that she would prefer to meet him at the public place, such as the hospital or wherever there were other people, but he insisted that they had to meet at the Moselle property so they could ride together. Maggie felt like something was wrong, so much so that she actually texted her best friend saying, quote, "He's up to something. He's acting fishy."
Oh my God. Why would they need to meet in the remote? They have all these locations, all these properties.
1,700 acres.
They need to meet at the most remote property they own to ride together to see your father.
Right. And then also.
And why do you need to ride together?
I'll
go to your dad's.
What was his alibi again?
He was at his dad's.
So why would she need to come meet him there?
Yeah, and she never made it out. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
As all of this is coming out, it is now August, 2 months after the murders of Maggie and Paul, when the new solicitor who had taken over since Randy Murdoch, aka the first non-Murdoch to be solicitor in the last 86 years for the 14th District, Duffy Stone, recuses himself from the investigation of the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdoch, aka they no longer have a prosecutor. Here's the letter that he sent to the Attorney General Alan Wilson. Quote, Dear Alan Wilson, considering the events of today in SLED's investigation of the homicide of Paul and Maggie Murdoch, I am asking that you assume all prosecutorial. Yeah, okay. I'm asking that you become the prosecutor for this matter effective immediately. By copy of this letter, I am informing Chief Mark Keel of my decision to recuse myself from prosecuting these cases. Yours sincerely, Duffy Stone. In an interview with a local news channel, Duffy explains that his decisions were based in legal ethics. After a consultation that he had with USC legal ethics professor and expert Dr. Greg Adams, and he could not give the exact reason because it would have been still a violation of those same ethics.
What?
All of this has been fucking crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm lost on that. So he sends a letter to the Attorney General.
Right. And he says, you have to be the prosecutor for this case because there's like a conflict of interest and legal ethics with me being in this case.
But he has nothing to do with the family. So did they threaten him?
No, it's just the fact. He says it has nothing to do with their relations as like within law and, you know, family matters. He says it has nothing to do with that. It has something to do that came up with the investigation and SLED's investigation.
Okay. Holy shit.
So that's fucking whack, right?
Yeah.
But this is where shit gets fucking crazy. Off the wall, bananas, fucking whack ass sideways. You're not even ready for this.
Oh my God.
September 4th, 2021. Alec Murdaugh calls 911. He had been shot in the head on the side of the road while waiting to change a flat tire in Hampton County, South Carolina.
Shot in the head?
Shot in the head.
And he's on the phone?
Mm-hmm. He was able to see the man who had shot him, and he was driving a blue truck. According to Alec's attorney, Jim Griffin, in a statement with People magazine, Alec suffered, quote, an entry and exit wound, a skull fracture, and a minor brain bleed in 2 places after being airlifted to a hospital and was in ICU. Also confirmed that they know that the gunshot wound was not self-inflicted. SLED's Tommy Crosby, who is their spokesperson, also says in a statement to People, quote, agents are actively investigating the incident and it has been classified as, quote, an attempted murder.
Holy shit.
Yet, from being in trauma, ICU, gunshot wound to the head, 2 days later on September 6th, Alec is released from the hospital. And he releases a statement to the Island Packet saying his wounds are superficial. AKA,
so
he got scraped by a bullet, like grazed him, yes. So there's no brain bleed. There's no skull fracture. It was just a scrape.
Wow.
But also in that same statement, Alec Murdaugh goes on to say, quote, the murders of my wife and son have caused an incredibly difficult time in my life. I have made a lot of decisions that I truly regret. Because of this, I am resigning from my law firm, PMPED, or Peters, Murdoch, Parker, Ellsroth, and Dietrich, and entering a rehab facility after a long battle that has been exacerbated. I can't ever say that word. Acerbated?
I don't know.
Whatever, by these murders. I am immensely sorry to everyone that I have hurt, including my family, friends, and colleagues. I ask for prayers as I rehabilitate myself in my relationships, end quote. Well,
so was that his first like media like reach out about
basically
the murders?
Yeah.
I feel like for such a private being, and this whole entire time, like he gives way more information than he needs. Like if you're going to a rehabilitation process, like you don't need to let the whole world know that.
I think the main reason he did that was because that is why he was leaving his family's law firm that they had owned since, 1910?
Yeah.
When I say I think that, I know that because the next day on September 7th, it just gets fucking crazier because the law firm comes out on People magazine and the Island Packet saying that the law firm PMPD fired Alec on September 3rd, the day before he was shot in the head. When one of the partners found a check on his desk from a client for $1 million that had been missing for months and confronted him about this before notifying the South Carolina Bar Association. When Alec was shot, members of his law firm went to the fucking crime scene and reported all of this to police in person. In a statement to the Island Packet, PMPED says, quote, "This is disappointing news for all of us. Rest assured that our firm will deal with this in a straightforward manner. There is no place for this in our firm or such behavior."
This man's got me fucked up.
On September 8th, the day after these statements came out, Alec's law license was temporarily suspended by the Supreme Court of South Carolina. The next day, on September 9th, Alec's older brother, Randolph IV, came forward saying, quote, "I was shocked just as the rest of my PMPED family to learn of my brother's drug addiction and the stealing of money. I love my law firm family, and I also love Alex as my brother. While I support him in this recovery, I do not support, condone, or excuse his conduct in stealing by manipulating his most trusted relationships," end quote. And less than a week later, on September 13th, the South Carolina State Law Enforcement Division, SLED, announces they have opened a full investigation into the stolen funds at PMPED.
Oh, shit.
On September 15th, 2 days later, a breakthrough in Alec's attempted murder case comes to light when 62-year-old Curtis Edward Smith was arrested. But this did not come about in a way that we were told by Alec initially. This wasn't because they found him, they had done an investigation. It's because of a confession. But not Curtis's confession, Alec's confession. Alec had asked Curtis, who was his friend, former client, and drug dealer, to aid him in his own suicide.
Holy shit.
But why? Because if it looked like a murder, then Buster, the only surviving Murdoch, would be able to receive Alec's $10 million life insurance payout. Curtis Smith was charged with assisted suicide, assault and battery of a highly aggravated nature, pointing and presenting a firearm, insurance fraud, and conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. Yet, when his affidavit was released to People magazine and in an interview with CBS News with the New York Times, Curtis claims that Alec called him to come meet him for a drug deal. But when Curtis arrived, Alec provided him with a firearm and directed him to shoot him in the head. Curtis refused, but then Alec acted like he was going to shoot Curtis and himself. So Curtis tackled Alec to get the gun away from him when the gun fired in the struggle. Curtis says that he was 1,000% sure, that's a quote, that neither of the men were hit. He then jumped up, got into his car, and drove off. In response to this, Alec's lawyer released a statement to People saying, quote, "On September 4th, it became clear to Alec that ending his life was his only option. But today, he knows that is not true. For the last 20 years, there have been many people feeding his addiction to opioids. During that time, these same individuals took advantage of his addiction and his ability to pay substantial funds for illegal drugs. One of those individuals, referring to Curtis Smith, took advantage of his mental illness and agreed to take Alec's life by shooting him in the head. On September 16th, Alec was driven to the Hampton County Law Enforcement Center and he turned himself in. Alec Murdaugh was then charged with insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and filing a false police report. His law license was then suspended and he was disbarred. A judge ruled that she did not believe Alec was a threat to the community and issued him a $20,000 bond.
Really?
That's literally nothing to this. This is
Yeah.
a fucking penny to him.
It's ridiculous.
Alec posted his bond, surrendered his passport to authorities, and was released back into rehab in Orlando, Florida. But then it was made public that on September 15th, 2021, so the same day that Curtis Smith was arrested, that SLED announced they were reopening an investigation into the death of Gloria Satterfield, who died in 2018.
Who was that?
Gloria Satterfield was the housekeeper for the Murdochs for years.
Who also died?
Yes.
None of these people put two and two together at all before any of this?
No. And her two sons that same day, so September 15th, filed a civil lawsuit against Alec. Well, on February 2nd, 2018, Gloria was walking down the front steps of the Murdoch's Moselle property when she tripped over the family's dog, according to Maggie Murdoch, who was the only person on the property with Gloria that day. Maggie called 911, and Gloria had suffered a severe head injury during this fall. When EMTs arrived on the scene, Alec Murdaugh had somehow already gotten there before them, claiming that his wife had called him and he rushed home from work. On February 26, 2018, Gloria died due to complications, including a stroke of her injuries. Her cause of death was reported as a result of a trip and fall accident and natural on her death certificate. However, a coroner testified that they were never made aware of Gloria's death. No autopsy was ever performed, and describing her death as, quote, natural was extremely improper.
Absolutely.
As I stated, Gloria's sons, Tony Satterfield and Brian Harrett, filed a civil lawsuit against Alec the same day that Curtis had been arrested, alleging that at Gloria's funeral, Alec approached both of the sons saying, "Hey, look, this is my fault because it was my dog that she tripped over on my property. Gloria was like family to us, and I just want to make sure that you guys are taken care of. So I'm going to set you up with this lawyer, this attorney. His name's Corey Fleming, and y'all are going to sue me." The brothers agreed and contacted Corey Fleming. Well, what they didn't know is that Corey Fleming was Alec's college roommate and a godfather to one of Alec's sons. So Corey Fleming, as their attorney, helped Tony and Brian sue Alec. But Corey told the sons, quote, "There is a financial matter in this lawsuit that needs to be handled by a banker, and his name is Chad Westendorf." So the brothers signed Chad Westendorf on as their personal representative, giving him the power to make all legal decisions for the family in court. That next day, Corey Fleming files a petition to the court to access partial funds in the settlement money. Alec's insurance company agreed to a settlement of the partial funds for $505,000, awarded to the son's legal representative, aka the banker Chad Westendorf. On January 7th, 2019, the check was delivered and made out to Chad Westendorf as PR of the estate of Gloria Satterfield and Moss, Kuhn, and Fleming, PA, as attorneys. So what the hell happened to that check? Well, Chad Westendorf put $403.5 thousand of it into a bank account named Forge. Literally named Forge. Forge was a bank account set up by Alec Murdaugh in 2015 to place money that he had stolen from clients with Corey Fleming and Chad Westendorf, which was mimicking a real financial settlement consultant firm called Forge Consulting, which he would use to pay out the clients for PMPED's firm. And then a second settlement was reached in the case of Gloria Satterfield in March of 2019 with the insurance company for $3.8 million.
Holy shit.
Totaling at $4.3 million that have now been awarded to Gloria's estate. Again, it was made out to Chad Westendorf as PR of the estate of Gloria Satterfield.
And what did her sons get out of any of this?
And once more, it was placed into the Forge account, despite the fact that $2.3 million of it should have been given directly to Gloria Satterfield's sons. In October of 2020, Corey and Alec filed to dismiss the settlement, stating that, quote, "all parties have come to an agreement together." And Judge Carmen Mullen approved this dismissal, stating that she knew Gloria's sons had received their payouts. Well, as of September 15th, 2021, Tony Satterfield and Brian Harrett had yet to see one penny of this money, using the opportunity of Murdaugh's shitty spotlight to get their justice for their mother and themselves, and it worked. On October 1st, 2021, a settlement was reached which awarded Gloria's sons $4.3 million.
Thank God.
On October 6th, Alec got sued again, this time by his own firm for the money that he had stolen from the clients over the years. On October 14th, 2021, Alec Murdaugh was arrested again and charged with misappropriating insurance settlement funds in the wrongful death suit that followed the mysterious death of Gloria Satterfield, aka 2 felony counts of obtaining property by false pretenses. In addition to this, it was brought to the public that after the 2019 payout of the $2.3 million, Corey asked Judge Carmen Mullen to not file the paperwork with the county clerk to keep it out of public record, as they feared that the boating incident that resulted in the death of Mallory Beach would attract bad press with the funds in the family's finances.
Maybe you already got bad press.
So that's why the forensic consultant
needed to be brought in
because of these funds.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. So now that judge, Carmen Mullen, is under investigation for being involved in the Murdoch scheme.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And that same day, Alec was officially named a person of interest in the murders of his wife and son.
I literally forgot about that whole thing.
I know. On October 19th, 2021, in a bond hearing, Alec was denied bail in order to have a psychiatric evaluation. On December 9th, 2021, Alec was indicted on 21 new charges against him from his own firm and former clients for well over $6.2 million.
Does he even have this much money anymore?
I don't think so. I don't fucking think so.
Like, and now are they just suing an empty wallet?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, the insurance company's gonna have to pay that.
Holy crap.
So these are the charges against him in this new indictment. So it's 21 charges. 9 counts of breach of trust, 7 counts of computer crimes, 4 counts of money laundering, and 1 count of forgery. Meaning this motherfucker had 48 indictments, and his bond was set at $7 million by the end of 2021.
Did he pay it?
I don't know. In addition to this, his partner in literal crime, Corey Fleming, has been indicted for 30 plus charges and is looking at facing prison time, which not looking at, he's literally going to go to prison. But he's also been disbarred. On January 21st, 2022, Alec Murdaugh was indicted for an additional 23 charges, including 19 counts of breach of trust with fraudulent intent and 4 counts of computer crimes. 6 months later, in June of 2022, literally 2 months ago, he was indicted again with an alleged 8-year money laundering and painkiller ring with his buddy Curtis Smith.
Oh my God.
Now totaling at 81 charges
Sam Smith's
against
dad?
him. No. Curtis Smith is the guy who shot him and was his drug dealer.
Oh, okay.
But didn't really shoot him. And then Steven Smith, I don't think they're related. Okay. I don't think they're related at all. They just happen to have the same last name. So yeah, painkiller ring with Curtis Smith. And that's 81 charges total against him. And none of these have to do with murder. That is until July 14th, 2022.
Chills. Tell me.
When a grand jury.
Tell me more.
In South Carolina, Hampton, South Carolina, indicted Alec Murdaugh, charging him with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of possession of a weapon during a commission of violent crime in the murders of his wife, Maggie Murdaugh, and son, Paul Terry Murdaugh. These indictments read that Alec shot his wife with a rifle before switching the guns and shooting his son with a shotgun. Though he pled not guilty, sources close to the investigation claim that, quote, high-velocity blood splatter was found on Alec's clothing, as well as a cell phone audio footage was placing Alec at the scene of the crime when his wife and son were fatally shot.
Holy crap.
Prosecutors suggest that the motive for killing his wife and son were connected to the financial crimes that Alec had committed. In a statement obtained by CNN, Alec's attorney says, this was 2 days ago that I got this article, and this article went out. In a statement obtained by CNN, Alec's attorney says, quote, Alec wants the trial to begin quickly because he believes his wife and son's killers are still at large. Right now, Alec Murdaugh is behind bars at the Richland County's Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center on a $7 million bond. His attorneys have petitioned the courts for the trial to begin in January of 2023 for the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh.
Wow.
This literally is currently unfolding.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he fucking did it.
He fucking did it. Like, there's no way around it. There's no way around it.
What a crazy motherfucker.
That is insane.
I feel like we're gonna get sued, so I can't say too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this family is gonna come after me.
I feel like his whole entire family is against him, like wants him to change his last name.
That's true.
Because let me tell you something, if one of my little sisters was out here doing some crazy shit like this, I would
You're like, well, I'm a vet center, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, no, it still does matter to me. I would literally go out there and be like, you're fired. You're fired from the family.
Yeah.
Completely.
That's fucking true. That is literally nuts.
That is insane.
What a crazy ass
case.
Dude.
No, this shit is so whack. And when I was doing this research, I was like, I knew about, like, I've heard of this case and I've like looked into it a bit just to know the basics. Like, it all started with Mallory Beach. That's what I always knew, that it started with Mallory Beach and then 2 other people got murdered and there was a lot of like money involved in this. But I never knew that well, obviously we never knew it because it just happened a month ago, that they like tied the dad to all of it.
Yeah.
But why is the one son surviving?
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that carries the family name, the passed down names.
Yeah. Buster.
Yeah. Buster.
And it was probably like his father's deathbed wish.
Yeah.
Randy's. It
That
was
is
probably
so
Randy's like deathbed wish. Like,
yeah.
Your family has royally fucked up and your wife's gonna divorce you. That can't happen in this family. She needs to go.
Right.
Your son has killed a
ruin
woman.
our name.
And will continue to ruin our name with his partying antics and his recklessness, and he needs to go. And
I mean, it
Buster's the only one that stays.
You can truly see, and actually Randy, I told you about the bootlegger situation, but there was actually more that he was kind of like in trouble for, which is why he was the first to retire and not just die in that position.
Yeah.
Like, you can almost see as the generations go on and more wealth is built and more power is given, they're just like losing control. So how scary is that for, like, think about like families like that, but on a big level.
The royal family.
That's what, that is literally where I was going. I was like, think about the royal family.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine what they have to hide? Yeah. Because people just go fucking crazy when they're born and raised with that much power. You can literally see it.
Think about the Kardashians.
Yep, that was another one I was thinking. I was thinking about the Kennedys. Like, they're a great example of it too.
Yeah.
Really
the Trumps.
crazy. Yep, oh my God, the Trumps, yes.
Clintons.
Oh, yeah.
Bushes.
Yep, everybody. Oh, Skull and Bones.
Yeah. Wow.
Did you enjoy it? Wow. I knew you were going to love a good
just
drama.
having a family name like that.
The Murdoch family.
Like the Mounts family.
Like, that would be so...
The Hooker family.
First off, I would not enjoy that. I would be like... I mean, I would, but like, I wouldn't. I'd be like, there is so much pressure surrounding this. Like, I struggle with going to old money people. Like, I struggle hanging around people that are old money. Is, I guess, the best way to put it.
I would love to just like put myself just for a day in like your New England, like old money, like...
Yes.
It's giving...
Like... a Maine,
Staten
Vermont
Island,
property too.
Yeah. Vibes.
That money. Your house was built in literally the year that Columbus came over. And it's been in your family for millions of years.
And it's gorgeous.
And you add on to it every year. And it's stunning. It was designed by...
You have a helicopter pad and somewhere in your property.
And you have your like tennis court in the back. And you have a tea room. What the fuck are you going to do in a tea room?
And I have to go watch Gossip Girl after this. Wow.
Wow. I hope
Are you guys happy with your 2.5 hour long episode?
Are you okay, guys? Like, what's going on?
Wow. That was crazy. I feel like both of our cases, like, we're really susceptible to death right now.
Yeah, we're talking about some very powerful people in all aspects. And literally, the one that I'm talking about is down the road from us.
Yeah, we're like, hey.
Like, oh, yeah.
Like, go Cox. We love South Carolina.
Love South Carolina. Love it. Bad.
Yeah. Wow. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And I think we actually drove through this area to get to Charleston.
Probably.
Yeah, because it's only 60 miles away from Charleston.
Yeah, I bet we did. Wow, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I can't wait
crazy.
for the updates.
I know. That's why I was like, I have to do it because I want to be heavily involved in the updates.
Yeah.
I want us to like be reporting on the trial as it's going on. I want to watch it all day long. I want it to consume me.
Wow.
So
Thank
hopefully
you.
it happens in January of 2023. We can get this motherfucker behind bars.
I was intrigued, and that kind of stuff's really hard when you're dealing with money. And
yes.
That shit is hard to get the words out.
Oh
So,
my God.
Fair. He was great.
That was rough. Literally, I'm like, so then he gets charged with 81 counts of fraudulent checks for this guy, this
And
guy,
you're
this
like,
guy.
I don't know what any of that means, but I'm going to say.
Meanwhile, there's two just like other murders that are tied to this family. One that was
you
directly
just kept popping
tied.
up names, and I'm like, who?
Who is this?
Yeah.
Who? Like, it makes no sense.
And I'm sure there's so many more, dude.
Dude, for those two to come forward, like those two to be like the basics, those are the easiest
There's
ones
probably
you can tie.
so many families that have been paid off, and they're just happy with their payoff, and they're like, what am I going to get now?
But honestly, God, if you
Like,
come forward more, like you could get paid more right
but
now.
like,
We're
you
just
know, like
emptying
he's
this
broke,
man's
and I've
pocket.
already have like.
But you know who I feel bad for? I actually feel bad for Buster, the son, if he is not a piece
part
of
of
shit.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if he's not a piece of shit, like that really sucks. You've
He has
lost
nobody.
your entire family.
Yeah.
You've lost your entire family.
Yeah.
And you've lost everything that you've grown up with. All of their properties have been sold. Like he has nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Really does.
Alrighty.
And I hope that if he is involved in it, then it'll come out.
And he'll grow from it because he's young.
Right. I mean, he's like, what, a year older than us?
now?
2 years older than us?
Oh, yeah.
Paul's the one that was 1999. He was 1996, 2 years older than us?
Yeah, so he's 26.
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah, that's tough.
Hope you guys enjoyed episode 100.
Happy 100. Don't ever
We
expect a
love ya.
2.5 hour episode ever again.
I don't even think it's going to end up being 200 hours. What? I don't think it's going to end up being 230.
Probably
'cause
2.
I could not pronounce words. But you guys will be getting a 2 hour.
Alrighty.
Love ya.
Love you. Bye.